31 people here. Holy mother of God. Okay. Oh, man. Sorry for keeping you waiting. It's already 1 after, and I should have been live a minute ago. Tonight, I got Anthony Greeno on the show. Now, him and I go back on this case all the way back to the very beginning, more or less. We each had a video channel on YouTube. We both covered various items. And when a crime of this nature happened in Carroll County, in the small town of Delphi, it drew our attention to it. Same with everybody else. You know, everyone's attention was drawn to this because nobody could believe that such a crime was committed in this town, you know, of this degree. So that's what drew everybody's attention into this. And that's why everybody's looking at it. That's why everybody makes videos on it, because it is a big topic. And him and I were there at the very beginning. We got various interviews with different people. The sheriff, was that Caitlin Nations, Trooper Kim Riley, and others as that goes. And that's how we started in this. So we kind of wanted to go back, him and I, and draw some questions that we can answer as to what is and what is not facts in the case. You know, what is drawn out above what it is, what's just been stated that isn't true, and what really is true. And just cover those things tonight. We'll cover facts, differing persons of interest, various theories that's been out there, and a lot more. So without further ado, here is Anthony Greeno. Greeno.
What's going on? YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, or wherever the hell you're watching from. I'm Anthony Greeno from True Crime Investigates. What's up, dude?
So what's new, dude?
Oh, not a whole lot, man. Just doing the thing. I ain't been live in a few days, so people are probably like, wait a minute, he's live on his channel now. Oh my gosh.
It's a change up, man.
It's a change up. Yep. A change of venue, as some might say.
So we kind of wanted to cover facts, and I think that, like, at the beginning of this, because really for first couple of years, me and you that was almost a 24-hour discussion was the case. You know, even when we said, don't go down there and discuss the case, we would be sitting down there discussing the case anyway. So
couldn't help it.
You know, I thought, you know, by having you here bounce ideas and throw it, you know, that it would make it easier than sitting here trying to cover it myself, because I have to get too involved in the chat. But when you're discussing, then see, I can keep an eye. You see where I'm at, and that way we can get a lot more questions from, you know, the viewing audience here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So let's begin with what I got out, and I have these in no specific order at all. But DNA. Do they, in Carroll County, does law enforcement have suspect DNA that can be counted upon?
I believe that they have DNA. I remember that there was a period in time where they was going out and asking everybody for DNA, including me, you, everybody that they could come across. Well, we want DNA. We can't clear you without DNA. So it's assumed that, yes, they would have the suspect's DNA, because if they are saying that they can't clear anybody without the DNA.
Well, let me draw into that. If they could clear you because of your DNA, then that right there says that it's good DNA.
Yeah, exactly.
You see where I'm at? Mm-hmm. They can't clear you if they have crap DNA. And let me tell you, if the FBI is doing your forensics, they'd effing know. They'd know whether it was good or not.
They would know.
So I think that the word in that, and we both heard that from differing investigators, was cleared. We can't clear you without DNA.
Yep.
That makes me feel that they do have good suspect DNA. Now, we don't know what kind, we don't know how they obtained it or where it came, but we would have to agree that it came from the crime scene.
Yeah. Yep. It definitely came from the crime scene. And yeah, like you said, we don't know what kind of DNA, because I mean, you could have touch, you could have blood, you could have skin, semen,
Yeah.
whatever. You know, there's all sorts of
all kinds.
Yep.
But it all is DNA. I
Yep.
mean, it all unleashes into the same.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. So we would agree, that they have DNA. And I don't know if there was any questions that people wanted to ask upon that.
Yeah. Yeah. And remember how they came out at first and was saying, while people are generating their questions in here, originally they came out and says, well, we're not going to comment on whether we have or excuse me, whether we have or haven't got the suspect's DNA. And then we was pushing them for that. We're like, well, you know what? You're out here telling people that, you know, we're not going to tell you if we got DNA, but you're asking everybody for DNA, telling us that you can't clear anybody without it. So you must have it.
Exactly.
So be more honest about it. Do you got it or not? You know, because if you're asking us for DNA to clear us, you have to have it.
Yeah, you know, and they
came out right after that and said,
yeah, we got DNA.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have DNA. We feel as suspects.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
So, all right. So let me move to the next one. And I kind of wanted to improv this a little better and not make it look too scripted. But let's go to fingerprints. Do we feel, or does anybody out there feel or don't feel that they have some kind of fingerprints that they can work within?
I feel that they do. I feel that they have solid evidence of fingerprints on something. Lesenby has come out and said that they have evidence of smudged fingerprints or smudged prints.
Wait, I thought it was latent.
Well, he said smudged in the article, but I mean,
okay.
Given, I mean, they could always, you know, reword that how the media does sometimes, but I think that we pretty much established that right off the get at the 1-year press conference with Kim Riley, with Kim Riley's statement.
Yes. And you know, that's exactly where I go with it the same way. I think that if you're going to say to someone, well, it's like this suspect has never been caught committing a crime. Well, how do you know? How would law enforcement know that the guy had never committed a crime? You know, there's only the one piece of evidence that would relate to him ever committing a crime, and that's a fingerprint.
Yep.
You know, as DNA specific crimes, you know, the fingerprints are taken for no matter what, you know, and that would tie back. So I felt after that they did have fingerprints of some kind. Yeah. And it fell right back to with what he said, that the guy had never got caught committing a crime before. Now, Mark Furman, who was an investigator in the O.J. Simpson trial, he was talking about, what was her name? Jamie, the girl that was taken up north of here, that was taken by that guy.
Kloss.
Yes, exactly. Now, when that guy was found, and I think it may have been before that, because he was talking about the forensics, and he said there was just really no forensics there. And he said, even if they had a fingerprint, if the guy had never been arrested before, his DNA or fingerprints wouldn't match.
Correct.
So it goes across the board that if you've never been arrested, your fingerprints nor DNA, of course, would not be found.
Correct. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you don't have anything to compare it to. You know, when they're taking a suspect's, you know, let's say someone is raped and they have a DNA sample and they run that through their system, then they're looking for criminals who's had previously given DNA or been in prison and had to give DNA and so forth. So they're looking for a match as someone who has already committed a crime, because more likely than not, that person has committed a crime before if they're going to commit a crime like that. But then when you come up, and usually they'll be able to match it real quick, be like, oh, well, you know what, this DNA showed up here, it's this person, you know. But when you don't have a match, then it's more likely than not saying, okay, yeah, this person, well, he's never been to prison or he's never been DNA'd by law enforcement, you know, meaning that there's potentially that the person has committed a crime, like a misdemeanor offense or tickets or things like that, had contact with law enforcement, but never had the DNA taken.
You know, I think it would be odd in a case where there was only DNA.
Yeah, because I mean,
if a person is as blatant as to commit a crime to that nature, it doesn't seem they'd go in all gloved and stuff like that. You know where I'm at? It seems like that they would leave evidence of fingerprints somewhere in or around the crime scene.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because they have to touch things, you know.
Yeah.
Unless you just shoot somebody, you're leaving fingerprints somewhere.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, and still, I mean, the person had to touch other things in the process of doing this. They didn't just walk around and not touch anything.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, and I mean, I think that we can kind of go a little with that because, of course, you know, as the things that would be touched, there would be like outside things that were also as well touched.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe that the FBI went in there and raked that whole area up. I don't think that there was a single item, even a leaf that was within that area that was not looked over.
Correct. Yeah, I guarantee that they cleaned all of that stuff up. Every stick that was around that area, they took it, and just in case they needed to process it, and looked for blood evidence using, you know, just using all their little special gadgets that they've got. You know how they use the luminol to find out where blood has been cleaned and things like that out of like bathtubs or wherever, crime scenes and stuff. If they're able to detect all that, I guarantee they was out there that night with those, you know, those, what are they, black light looking things out there looking around, seeing where there's body fluids.
Yeah. So. Yeah, because if the FBI is doing your CSI, the crime scene investigation, and I feel that there was good reason for them to feel immediately at Delphi when looking at it, when contacted, when told of it, even if it was just an officer hearing of it, that there was maybe, you know, the connections with Evansdale. 2 young girls abducted at a trail in the daytime, you know, that it seemed very odd and in a way much like that. And that was a person that they were seeking, you know, the FBI. I think that that was a reason that they had a FBI agent there on the 14th, you know, is because of that.
Was it because of the Evansdale case?
Well, yeah, absolutely.
Because it's only 6 hours away. It's similar.
Well, reverse date. No, exactly. Same MO. Yeah. I mean, in every way, an identical crime.
Yeah, the numerology, you know, like just everything, all the weird things that just point to it could have potentially be connected right away. They was like, well, hey, you know, maybe we need to, this potentially could be the guy from that.
Well, exactly. And I think that that's why they wanted a guy there, because if the girls were found, you know, let's say, you know, in the same manner, that they would have somebody there so that they could get CSI in there and get good working evidence to find the guy, if it was one of the same.
Exactly.
You see?
Yes. Now, well, you have, let's see, in Evansdale, they were found, was it 5 months after?
About 6. They were found in December. Okay. I think December the 8th.
Okay. So yeah, I have a picture pulled up on the other screen. I don't know if you want to show that, of the Evansdale and Delphi girls at the same time. If you guys don't know who we're talking about, Evansdale, Iowa is that's another case. It's Lyric Cook and Elizabeth Collins, and that's still another unsolved case. But yeah, I just wanted to show that picture of the 2 girls from Iowa and the 2 girls from Delphi. If you don't know much about that, you're going to want to research and look into those 2 cases, you know, to see the similarities, because they are striking.
Yeah, it is. And I mean, it drew my attention and yours to that case because of the similarities. In fact, we were sitting right here, and that's been almost 3 years ago.
Yeah.
And we did a live show on the similarities between the 2.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, and there was, but the best we could give it at that time is, yeah, there are similarities, you know, and in fact, some very big similarities if we was looking at it as like planned, you know, between the 2.
Yes.
So, you know, we came to that, but there was no reason and there was no way, there was nobody to look at, you know, to really draw a connection than similarities. You know, we couldn't look at Delphi and say unknown serial killer out there, you know, doing this randomly, because that would have seemed like an idiot move to make. I mean, you know, we can't just like guess like that, you know. But if you put somebody where it can, then it certainly does help.
Yeah. Yeah. So and I
mean, I believe they were done by one and the same person. You know, that's me.
But at the beginning, there was no way to tell anything.
No, and that's what I'm getting at. You know, because we both agreed that there was mega similarities, but at the same time, I mean, hell, how are we going to say some serial killers doing it? You know, we can't. You know, we'd have to have more advanced knowledge than what we had, and we weren't setting on that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Here is the picture of the Delphi girls, Abby and Libby.
Yep. There they are. Actually, one of those signs is sitting out there at the memorial, the 501 sign right now.
At where?
At the 501 sign, at the center section of the trail there. Okay. I set one of those up at the walk on last Saturday.
His age.
Suspect's age.
Yeah. I mean, what do we know about the suspect's age? I mean, from everything that's known publicly, that's been given by law enforcement, what could we use as the best determination as to what that man's age is?
That's been given by law enforcement?
Well, they said 18 to 40, but I mean, like, from everything that's been said off the go, you know, he may look younger than his real age. He might. It's like, well, if you look younger than 18,
then you're a kid. Yeah. Well, I mean, let's go back to the first sketch. When they released the first sketch and they came out and says, well, we believe the suspect is 31 to 65. Okay. And then the second sketch, now they're saying 18 to 40. So what I'm getting is, how old is the suspect? 18 to 65.
Yeah. Yeah. Somewhere through there.
Yeah. It could look like the younger, the young sketch could look like the older sketch. Not really sure. That's what I'm getting from law enforcement, is that they just don't know. That they don't really know. They're guessing. I mean, we know what we know what the other people gave the description for. The witnesses, the two witnesses that we have, they gave a description for an older man in his 40s to 50s, relatively, you know.
Yeah.
40s to 50s seems to be what the witnesses stated.
Now, see, I would go with that. I mean, say as an example. Now, I mean, it would really make a difference on what the person's age is. But if I was to run into somebody and speak with them, now, you know, it's like you meet somebody and you talk to them for a minute, and then you try to, you know, remember who they are. It's like crossing somebody on the trail. If they walk past you, hey, how you doing? Pretty good. You know,
never gonna.
Well, 10 minutes later, you ain't going to remember anything about them. 2 days later, it was like, yeah, it was that guy. I could say that. What did he look like exactly? You know, but if you sit and talk to a guy for a couple of minutes, you're looking at his face. You know, that's the point when you talk. And I think that helps a lot with giving details on the sketch.
It does.
On the first sketch, law enforcement had said that they had worked on that for a long time. Mm-hmm. You know, and, you know, it was probably about as good as it was going to get. They hoped that that would help nail who it was when somebody seen a sketch of it. So I thought that the first sketch was fine. And then they come out, no, we made one immediately from somebody, you know, and it's all like, yeah, you know, I don't
release that.
I don't buy that second sketch. I really don't. I
don't either.
It's like, we know the guy had a hat on. The man had a hat on.
Yeah, he even said to have a hat on by the witness. Yeah. He had a hat on. I don't remember what kind.
St. Louis man said, and he was wearing a hat, like, you know, the one, you know, and we know that the guy was wearing a hat. We know at least the two people that seen him, and they seen him with a hat on.
Yes.
So, you know, I don't understand why they would have an immediate sketch of him without a hat. That seems very, very weird.
Yeah, and where do they get this information? Because, so he even said, Doug Carter said at that April 2019 press conference, he said, based on new information over the course of the investigation, based on new information that we've received, the sketch, which you will see here shortly, is the person responsible for the murder of those 2 girls. It's a quote from him.
Yes.
So he's saying, based on new information, we're going to give you this sketch. But after the sketch is released, people are like, wait a minute, hold on now. How do you go from this guy to this guy? And they're like, well, wait a minute. We had this one first, 3 days after the murders. We just never released it. Why would you not release it immediately if you had that?
Well, you know, I might be able to give an answer to that. Okay.
Because they're looking at it for law enforcement to be able to identify the person?
Well, you know, as well, that could play in. But I mean, if you got information, especially pretty quick. Now, here's the thing. You got to verify that those people seen the right guy.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we don't know exactly at what point the photos became a part of it.
Right.
You know, so they don't know who they're looking for right off the bat until those photos come out.
Yeah. Now,
until that time, they could be talking to a lot of people, and it could be anybody that was seen there that was unknown at the time. And when the photos came out, we know the lady that was walking her dog took her time about reaching law enforcement because she felt that that guy would know exactly where any information come from, and that the guy knew where she lived.
Yeah.
So she was hesitant about going to law enforcement off the bat, but did. And I think that that's where the biggest amount of the information came from regarding the first composite sketch. Because seriously, how much stock can you put into what flannel shirt guy was seen when he just walked by the guy?
Like exactly. He just happened to say, I seen a guy leaving.
Yeah.
You know, I seen the guy leaving. Yeah. Okay. That matches what I'm seeing in this photo. Now video.
And that was days later.
Yeah.
You know, that wasn't right away.
Right.
And he didn't hold that guy within any suspicion because he was telling Mark, Derek, that, I seen some girls, there's some women down there, but not the age that you're looking for. It wasn't them, so he never thought, well, that guy I seen leaving could have did something to him. I mean, it never entered his mind.
No, I mean, number one, you wouldn't even think that. I wouldn't have thought that.
Exactly.
Like, oh man, some guy just walked by here, man. He probably killed him.
Exactly.
Nobody's going to think that. You're just thinking, and a lot of people bring that to my channel and ask that question. Well, why didn't the flannel shirt guy tell Derek that he saw the suspect? I was like, because he wasn't a suspect at the time to anybody. Yeah,
he was a hiker.
He was just some dude that walked by and some innocent guy that he thought like, oh, there's some guy. I mean, he's not looking for a guy. He's looking for 2 girls. Well, there is 2 girls down here on the bridge right now, but they're not. These are women. These aren't little girls. Just like anybody. I mean, the dude that you guys passed in Walmart the last time you guys went to Walmart or Kroger or whatever, the first person you passed could have went and committed a crime right before that. Did you suspect him of doing anything wrong? Probably not.
Oh, let's pull this here up. Do we think that there were 70 people in the trail that day?
I do not.
I don't at all. No, not at all. And I say that for a lot of reasons. Now, there was. I mean, I'll put it to you like this. There was more than that many. I mean, when the search began. But before that, no. And I think that some of that goes back to what Kelsey had said, that there was 45 kids there when she dropped them off, and then recalls later, well, maybe that was when we was searching later on, and it's like, well, she couldn't have seen 45 kids from where she dropped them off. You see,
just 45 kids just linger in there. Multiple people
right there.
Saw the suspect.
Yeah, everybody. That's why I said there would have been so many people that seen the suspect. It would have been unreal. Everybody would have seen it.
Yeah, I mean, I believe just a handful of people was out there that day. We know for a fact Abby, Libby, flannel shirt guy, Cheyenne, her friend, Kate, suspect, maybe a few other random people that happened to be there either before, right around Derek. You know what I mean? We've got 8 people that we're counting there. So, I mean, we're counting 10 to 15 people maybe showed up that day, early morning, to the time that the crime happened, and then all these other people came.
I'll expound upon that we've been out there on absolutely beautiful days for 3 to 4 hours and didn't see a single person.
not a person, not
Now,
one, multiple times.
You're looking at February the 13th.
Cold.
Normally a day of blizzards in Indiana.
Yeah.
You know, not that many people are going to get up and run to that trail to go hike. And I don't think that there was any, they wasn't going to meet anybody there or anything like that. I mean, and when people draw that connection, I'm like, well, that's like saying the FBI is an idiot. You know, that they couldn't have found that and already got a hold of that person rather immediately. You know, they wasn't going to meet anybody. They wasn't in secret conversations with people online because the FBI would have nailed that guy years ago.
Oh, yeah.
No, it was just as simple as they came up with the idea. They were taken there and dropped off, and it was at the very wrong place at the very wrong time. It was happenstance, and it was just the fate of the way that it happened. But that's, again, it's what draws people's attention, because how could a crime like that happen in Delphi, Indiana? You know, how could it be this long with that much evidence and nobody's to blame?
I know. It's just like, what? And here's something. Okay, so Abby and Libby's dropped off at the wrong time. You know, just the wrong place, wrong time. Your opinion, would this have happened to Cheyenne and her friend?
Yes, absolutely.
It would have almost been the same scenario. You've got a witness coming up.
Identical. It would have played pretty much identical. I think that the person already had in their mind exactly what was going to transpire once he got somebody over to that side, where he was going to take him and what was going to happen after they got there. So I think that, I mean, it was just a happenstance. And again, I'm not sure exactly how old Cheyenne and her friend are exactly, but I would consider them and the two that this did happen to be very young girls, you know, not old middle-aged girls.
Right.
You see?
Yeah. And that's crazy. It's, you know, had it not been these two, it probably would have been the other two, and we would have been in the same scenario, maybe without the video. Yeah.
Well, yeah, no, I mean, I would say without video. I mean, because I think that it was just in that girl's mind. I mean, she knew they was at a distance, and I mean, like it was too late. You know, they didn't know what was going to happen exactly, but they knew that this guy was there and he was a threat. They couldn't call law enforcement. You see where I'm at? It was already too late. And I think that by, you know, her just putting it in her mind, well, I'll get the guy's video and voice, you know, and then like after this guy leaves, you know, we give that to law enforcement, they can find out who it is, you know, and I don't know that she would have done the exact same. I mean, she had a phone on her, but it was just that cunning at the right moment. But you know, look at the information and the evidence that released to the public. I mean, that's been the height of the evidence that we know.
Yeah. Look at Humanimal. Look at her comment right there. In your scenario, wouldn't he have had to cross paths with Cheyenne?
No, I don't believe that, because I once he got him over to private property.
I'm going to pull up something while you're talking, okay?
To Ron Logan's, when they were down in there, we know the exact walk time from there back to the 501. We know the time that flannel shirt guy seen him. Well, we know that she arrived at the main parking area 10 minutes before flannel shirt guy, and we know that she didn't see or hear anything. So we can estimate that he walked out of there by the time that Cheyenne had got to the bridge.
This is a sneak peek.
Yes.
And the time that flannel shirt guy was still coming up the trail.
Yes, and I've actually got, man, I've got
it. I don't think that she's seen anything at all.
No, she couldn't have.
Right.
So like, okay. All right, so I've got a thing pulled up here.
Hold on.
What?
I got a gift, man.
Yep.
The gift that I got today.
You know what? I've got it too. What did I do with it?
Man, don't try to steal my thunder, man.
I figured this would be a good time.
And I got a really nice case knife from Sean B. He had sent that to me, and Greeno got it delivered to me today. And I thank him. It's a beautiful gift, man. I appreciate it, Sean. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you, Sean. Very, very nice. very, very cool. Yeah, these are very cool. We appreciate you very much. So that is awesome.
Subscribers, we appreciate the most.
Yeah, we really appreciate all subscribers. So I pulled up a clip of the Cheyenne thing going down the trail and stuff. It's like 3 minutes or whatever, and maybe if we could play that.
Oh, whoa. Is this on your channel?
Yep.
No, can't.
You can't because it's got the music.
They'll demonetize anyway because it is on your channel. But even because the music, yeah, it'll be demonetized.
Okay, the music's gonna kill it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Man, I mean that sucks too, man. No, I mean unless you can like kill the audio and voice over and say, well, this is what he's saying there. But I mean,
I can kill the audio. Will it still play it? It's fair use.
Yeah, but and you know how that works, dude. You got to like bust nails with a sledgehammer just to get something monetized.
Hold on.
And anymore, you know what they do? They demonetize it for a week, and then they say,
"Well, I tell you,
it's fine." After I got all my views,
what's not monetized is Google Earth. I'll pull it up. I'm going to pull up Google Earth and show just why they wouldn't have crossed paths right there. For her to see that, because, and I know that she's probably seen this a million times, that, all right, I've got it pulled up. Where are we at here? Delphi. Okay, so we're looking at suspect.
Michael. Oh, hang on. Let me pull that up. Yeah, that's what we was just talking about. If it had not have been the two girls that it did happen to, they probably would have been the next right there immediately after, and likely would have been target.
Yeah, almost guaranteed.
Yeah.
Yeah, guaranteed. So let me see here. Flannel shirt guy.
The flannel shirt guy.
Flannel shirt guy. Yeah. He's the guy. All right. So let's go through here, and I'm going to pull this up.
Flannel shirt guy, man.
Flannel shirt guy. Okay. All right. I'm ready to pull it up. If you
he was the very first person that we met that had any regards at all to this case, and we had no idea who it was.
Yeah.
We had no idea at all, man. We had to find out, and we're like, oh, man, that's flannel shirt guy. We know him. He had the flannel shirt on. You know, he was dressed to the occasion, man.
Okay. So I'm ready whenever you are to pull it over.
All right. You want me to add it?
Yep. You can add it. Okay. So here we are. So at this location here, the suspect takes the girls down 2 hills and he crosses the creeks over to this area right here. Now, what I've highlighted right there in that square is the crime scene area that we called, you know, the kill zone, or the area that the bodies were found. Now, at approximately 10 till 3, Cheyenne is already on the bridge at that point, and she is walking in this direction. She takes a photograph in this location facing back that way. Cheyenne states that she didn't see anybody. She didn't see the suspect. She didn't see Abby and Libby. She didn't see anybody. The only person that she described was seeing an older white man with white hair who lingered around the head of the bridge for a few minutes and then left, which is the flannel shirt guy.
That is flannel shirt guy.
Yeah. So since Cheyenne didn't see anything, the suspect didn't come back across the creek, walk up both hills, and pass her, and she didn't see him over here in this area. So instead, he walked in this route around as she's on the bridge with her friend walking this way. At the same time she's taking that photo, the man in the flannel shirt is seeing the suspect up here. So if he's seeing him leave here, and Cheyenne and Cheryl did not pass the suspect as they were walking down in this direction, then it's a given. The suspect came through the woods this way, because it wouldn't make any sense for him to cross back over here and go back and walk across this bridge when he could just walk through the woods this way. So they just missed each other. So as she's going this way, he's going this way. So they wouldn't have crossed paths at all. And he didn't want to cross paths with anybody. He didn't want to be seen coming out of that area. You know, if he would have been walking, or if she would have been walking across here and all of a sudden some guy comes walking through here and then comes up and walks past him, now he's identified. And you can hear things out here. You can hear people talking and stuff. It's not that, you know, you can hear. So he probably heard them talking in conversation. So he probably stayed away from them, wouldn't you think?
Well, I would, but I do want to point out that down there in the area where the crime occurred, you are surrounded by a 70-foot hill.
Yeah.
It's down in a holler. That was a 70-foot hill. Now, it sounds different than the way it is because it's not a serious steep hill, but it goes down 70 feet from up where County Road 300 is down to where the shore of the Deer Creek is. So it's quite a drop off down into there. Now, when you're surrounded by that, now back over on the south side of the bridge, it would almost be like an auditorium where it would kind of send sound from the right place back in there, back across, you know, where it would reverberate it back toward that area.
Yep.
But the north side of the bridge, and especially back on the 501 trail where Flannel Shirt Guy was, you probably wouldn't hear much of anybody down in there. You know, there would be no way just to hear somebody talking down in there because you got a big hill going and it's just not going to head out into that direction.
Yeah, exactly. And Kay there says, I still can't believe no one heard the girls screaming. Well, one, if someone points a pistol at you and says, if you scream, it's over, are you going to scream?
Yeah.
And if someone's hurting, if the suspect starts hurting one person and one girl screams, do you think that he's just going to allow that to happen, or he's going to do anything he can to silence them because he's like, oh crap, man, if someone is yelling, I'm going to get caught. So he would have to silence one, subdue one, you know, to stop that screaming from happening.
See, now Kay says they must have screamed. It's a natural response to that kind of stress. Not really. Not really. It's, I don't think it's a natural response. A person doesn't just scream, you know, and especially because you got the duress on you that, hey, there's a guy here that has a weapon that will do things if this is done. You would probably do everything you could not to.
Exactly. And Kay also says, but when he's stabbing you, you will scream. Well, we don't know if they were stabbed or not first.
Yeah.
But if he knocks you unconscious and then kills you, you won't make a sound.
Yeah.
You know, if you blunt force trauma, if you knock someone in the head and knock them out, there's no noise that's going to be made at that point. So you have to take into account that it's a possibility that that happened.
Okay, Greeno, explain to people what this link here is in regards to.
So the link that he just posted on the screen is actually for a March for Justice. It's we are getting some different, actually, you know what? I'll grab something real quick and I'll show you. So in Muncie, this Saturday, I have organized a March for Justice, which is highlighting missing persons, murdered persons, and victims of unsolved cases. And what it is we're going to go out, we're going to raise awareness. You can pull us both back in if you want. We're going to raise awareness to the cases like Orrin and Orson. Now I have these in Spanish and English. Okay, it's to print these kind of flyers. We are getting these types of things to be able to, and I know that you can't see because part of this is green, but banners and so forth to be able to carry around and promote missing persons. Okay, so we're going to promote missing persons, raise awareness to the cases that are unsolved, because if someone doesn't raise awareness to this, no one will. And so we have an event that's going to be over 50 people are going to show up. We've got we're going to be broadcasting it. I've got a lot of people that are going to be promoting their loved ones in these cases. So the idea is that people would be able to come out, show up. I have a reservation booked at a restaurant where we can sit down. We're going to do interviews with people so they can get a one-on-one session with me and talking about their specific situation. If you want to highlight any case, Abby and Libby, the West boys, if you're a victim of a crime, we'd like to hear your story, and we'd like to just raise awareness for that. So that is a money pool that is to help. That's going to help us print these types of things and get more of these types of things for this type of event. We also have shirts and things like that. Some of them are on the way. Some of them we still have to order for people who are reaching out after that order was placed. But it's Saturday, May 22nd, downtown Muncie.
So if you'd like to give to that, there is the link in the chat. Okay, carry on. Now, where was you at?
No, I was just saying that, really we don't know what happened down there in that crime scene. So like a lot of people will say, well, if they was stabbed or if they was shot or so forth. But I mean, realistically, we don't know any of that. That's all just speculation based on what we feel. Yeah.
It is, because we don't. And I would feel that there's no way that crime could have been done with no noise. Mm-hmm. There was some amount of noise, but there wasn't anybody in the locale that could have heard that. So, I don't think that it was without noise, but we can't draw in what we think happened. It would be with or without, if you see where I'm at. It's like a knife, a gun, a small caliber, because we don't know what happened. And all we know from what law enforcement has said is that it was brutal. So we just know that. Now, anything that we would draw into that or say what must have happened, well, we don't know that. And to back that up, what does that tell us at all about who did it? Nothing. It's more of a curiosity as to what happened. And we don't know that. And law enforcement isn't releasing that. And I feel rightfully, because there's no reason for us to know that. It doesn't help with anything that they're looking for. And it doesn't help us in what we're looking for,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And for Georgina, no, Cheyenne is not the girl that's seen. Oh, wait. So seen flannel shirt guy at the other end of the bridge lurking around. Yes, but he wasn't at the south end of the bridge. He was at the north end of the bridge. Okay, so he was at the northwest end, not the southeast. Southeast is where down the hill is. Northwest is where everybody arrives to the bridge at. Everybody. When you first come up to the bridge, you're there at the northwest side of the bridge. Okay, that's how you get to it. Cheyenne said that she saw the man in a flannel shirt just lingering around up there, and
he lingers.
Yeah, and he lingers, and he would have lingered. He would have been there sometime around 3 o'clock. Linger for a few minutes, walks back to the center section of the trail where he meets Derek at 3:15. And that's given his walking time and their statements. Yeah. So he sees the suspect as he's walking to the bridge. Suspect's walking away back towards the Freedom Bridge area. Takes him about another 10 minutes to get there based on his walking time.
Which would be slower than Cheyenne's. However, I would say that Cheyenne and her friend would probably be more likely to stop, take photos and this and that along their way. But I don't think that they would have been all day about it. But I'll put it to you like this. If they arrived 10 minutes before he did, okay, well, we could put a 10-minute, time gap on them getting there before he did. But he does walk at a slower pace. He likes to linger, and I could see where he stopped at the secondary entrance for 10 minutes looking around, because that is how, he's more prone to do. You see where I'm at?
That's what he does. I mean, he did it multiple times the day we was there with him.
And I don't think that either one of the two, Cheyenne and her friend or him, was trying to race down there. It was just part of where they was going.
Right.
Through the hike itself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right. Well, let me, man, you know what? This vape is leaking juice out. Sucks. All right. His audio voice.
Okay.
Well, we have an audio voice of him. It started with down the hill. Then they added the word guys. So it's guys down the hill. Mm-hmm. Now, you and I talked about that off the go, and it was a topic matter of conversation of, well, where does that voice come from? And we had sat and listened to it, and we're trying to figure out where we felt it came from. Now I remember that we had talked about that and said, well, it sounds more like Southern Indiana, Northern Kentucky, like a little South, but not real South. And, it sounds very Midwestern-y. So this begs the question, is he from around Delphi or Carroll County, and had he worked there? Or is he an outsider completely, feeling from the voice that he's a man from the Midwest? I mean, which side do we go on this? I mean, I got my take, but I mean, as the overall goes, because a lot of people have different opinions on that as well.
I still maintain that the accent that we're hearing, just based on the small clip that we have, is a Midwestern, Southern Indiana, Northern Kentucky type of accent. I still believe that. It sounds that similar. Now, if you get, too far north, people change.
Yes.
Northern Indiana, the way they pronounce the O's and certain words change.
Well, I give you that, because I was talking about this the other day. If you go up into Michigan and you cross that line into lower Michigan and you go a county or two up, it's not going to sound at all dissimilar from Northern Indiana.
Yeah.
It's because they're going to sound pretty much the same. Now, as you go up Michigan, you can go all the way up there until they're speaking Canadian. In fact, they speak more Canadian than Canadians up there.
Exactly. And it changes really quick. You go to Wisconsin, changes. And then you can definitely tell the West Coast from the East Coast type of accents as well. Yeah. And then you got those deep, like Southern accents that we call, like that'd be like, Georgia, Alabama, South Carolina, Kentucky, Tennessee. Those are very noticeable.
Yeah.
Okay. Those are what everybody calls the hick voices, because it's just a real weird draw that comes out when people are speaking the way that they're speaking.
There's a difference between a kindly Georgia gentleman and some homeboy from Arkansas.
Yeah, exactly.
There's just that big twist, because they don't really sound the same, like from, say, Tennessee over to Georgia, Carolinas over to like Alabama, Arkansas. They have their own Southern accent, so to speak. You can kind of differentiate about where a person's from given that accent. That's why I say that the accent sounds very Midwestern. It's nothing that you can take too far south, east, or west. You can't even go all that far north without hitting a different accent.
Exactly. So you're stretching it from like Ohio through Indiana, Illinois, Missouri, and then
Missouri, and I mean, like, I do have a side there, but the point is that you can go down into southern Missouri and you're going to hear a Missourian accent.
It's starting to change right there at that line. It's starting to change.
Yeah.
When you get to Oklahoma, all that stuff, it's starting to change big time.
Yeah, and you get down into Texas, they have like 3 different accents on their own. You got the Western Texas, mid to Eastern Texas, where it goes into our, the accents really change. It's a big state.
It does. And so that, that the voice, if we had so much more of the voice, which they have, we would be able to analyze that way better. And we'd probably be able to clean more of the audio up.
Well, I was talking about that, because in the audio, when we was trying to clean that up with Audacity, there's so much background crackle that it also affects the voice, when you take it out. And if you don't hit the voice with it, where it takes it out within the voice, there's no real good way to clean it up in Audacity. You see where I'm at?
Yeah.
Because it's still going to take out a certain amount of that voice with the sounds of the crackle that are within that. It kind of takes that out a little bit. It kind of it cleans the audio, but at the same time, the audio that's there isn't as clean as what it was beforehand with the background noise.
Exactly. You start to distort that voice a little bit. Or something like robot-y kind of.
Yeah.
Now, and a lot of people ask this question is, how do we know that they have more voice? Well, let's put it this way. They took a good walk, okay, from point A to point B. They went from one location to the next location, a football field away. Is it realistic to think that the man said, guys, down the hill, and that's all that was said? No.
Right.
They said something back. He told them, okay, they didn't just walk across the creek because that's what they assumed he wanted. No, there was a lot of conversation. Whoa, okay, why are we going down the hill? Because I said, and he's telling them things. And plus, in an interview with First Sergeant Jerry Holman of the Indiana State Police, who is like the lead investigator on the case, he even stated, when asked, what else is on that audio recording? He stated, conversation between him and them.
Yes.
So it's an extensive conversation. We don't know what they talked about, but there is an extensive conversation there.
Yeah, and I agree, because if we don't know exactly where on her body the phone was placed, I would doubt that she was carrying the phone, because if she was carrying the phone, that would look very obvious that that phone had something going on, that she didn't want it to get wet, of all things, and especially at a time like that, it would have looked very noticeable that, the phone was like she was carrying it like this for a reason. But if she had it in a top pocket, a waistband, or a pants pocket, or however she would have pocketed that, crossing the creek would have been the issue, because crossing that when the water was up and the phone got wet, it would have killed the phone.
Yeah. And
the recording and everything at that point. Now, had it made it across the creek, if it was in a top band or whatnot and made it across the creek, then the survey says it probably at least caught some of the attack.
I would say
at least by audio.
A portion of it.
Yeah.
The audio. Yes, audio. And a lot of people are like, well, the video. It's almost certain. I can't say, depending on where the phone landed during the attack. But
well, you say landed.
Well, I mean, it could have been dropped on purpose.
Yeah, but we don't know where it was at or what was done. I mean, we don't know that it was dropped, thrown, or anything like that, or where exactly it was found.
Right.
So, and we don't know if it was wet and running. We really don't know anything more about the phone other than it caught the beginning of it. We know that. But the rest, we really got to speculate as to whether the phone made it across the creek and didn't get wet, how much battery life was in the phone, how long it could have videotaped for. Because if you take it to a time of when she turned it on to going across that creek, that it's a distance of videotaping.
It's over a football field. Yeah.
I mean, how long is that going to continue? How much battery life did the phone have off the go?
Yeah, and it was already out there for a while with no charger, so the battery life would have already diminished somewhat.
Yeah.
Then you're crossing water, and they said that the phone was found in the area the bodies were found, so we're assuming that that's on the other side of the creek. If that is true, and it was on the other side of the creek, near where they were found, then it somehow crossed with them, whether it got wet because if it was, I mean, I've been out there several times. How high was the water when you crossed it?
When I crossed, it wasn't that deep. It came up maybe toward my knee.
The way?
To my knee.
All the way, though? All the way across? It was only up to your knee?
Yeah. Well, see, I went out there in like January, February.
Okay.
It was real cold, but the water wasn't real deep. Now, when I look at that, and they got the people in that the creek right there the following day, they're up to about their waist. And that's grown men. Now, I realize that right there is the more shallower area to cross, but there's going to be areas in there where it's deeper. And I feel that it probably would have went up to the girl's waist at that time.
Yeah.
Because the water was deeper than normal, but it wasn't at flood deep.
Yeah. And,
it wasn't at bad flood depth. At least it did not look like it.
You're right. And so Jason under the scope said, remember, the thermal did not show any bodies. But there was a video that was posted recently by someone that showed that if someone is in a body of water and gets cold, for just a brief minute and then goes, the thermal will not pick that up because it's detecting that it's cold, that the body is cold, because it takes the body so long to warm up. And if you walk through water and then you're outside in the cold all night, you're not going to warm up.
If you cross in clothes,
yeah,
and they did. Now we don't know when the bodies were found. You know what had happened, but you know we can't think that, well, if they crossed with clothes on because those clothes got wet, that any amount of clothes on them would probably be wet at contact.
Yeah,
and, you know, would probably show at a lighter temperature than what the human body would be.
Yep.
You know.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on here. The suspect's vehicle.
The suspect's vehicle.
We know that law enforcement stated that there was a vehicle that was parked from approximately 12 noon up to 5 p.m. that day. That within that time that there was a vehicle that was parked there. Now, I don't think that they would have brought that vehicle up unless they felt it was suspect.
Correct.
So if that's the case and he did park there, I haven't seen, nor have I heard law enforcement make a mention of a make or model or color of that vehicle. But they did feel or say that there was a vehicle there that, based on their investigation through those times.
And they held that information. They knew that right off the get.
Well, maybe they did, maybe they didn't.
But so they're.
I mean, I say that because if you live on County Road 300 and somebody's parked at that abandoned building all the time, how much attention would you pay a vehicle parked there? None.
I wouldn't ever paid any attention to it because if I would have just saw a vehicle parked there was a building there at one time, I'd have thought, someone just at the building.
Well, they got that trail that goes from that parking lot to the, you know, and that's why I say I think it was an area where people parked to go to, down the trail very often. And I don't think that people would have seen that and thought suspicion of a car being parked there at all because, you know, they were normally parked there.
Right.
But we don't know what make or model or color of it. And I mean, that's what sucks, because knowing there is a vehicle there is good because it answers the question, where did he park? Well, we know
we was on that. Remember, we was on that. We're like, well, the dude had to walk into town then.
Yeah, exactly. And, you know, we was thinking, well, where would he park? You know, where would be a place where he could park? You know, it would have to be some place that was at least deep in the woods, because in February, there's no leaves on. You can see back in there a good piece, and there isn't no area of really deep woods right there. You know, outside of when you leave that trail, where can you go? Nowhere.
Right.
You know, you got to walk down County Road 300.
Yeah. And yes, to answer Die Hard's question, yeah, the FBI gets to see the whole video, of course. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, they're letting Public Information Officer Kim Riley look at it. You know, the sheriff looked at it. There's multiple people that have seen that video all the way through multiple times.
You know, I mean, that is, I mean, that would be a hard part, you know, if you was an investigator where you had to look at that and listen to that. But I mean, it would definitely, you know, bring that out of you that, look, we got to find this man. You know, we got to find out who this guy is. We got to take him out here.
Yeah. And they was pretty adamant on that real quick. Like,
yeah,
man, we need this guy. Like, please, like, we're putting up $25,000 right off the get. FBI puts up $25,000 and says, we got money for you. And then the money just grew from other people. But it was that bad that they were like, $25,000 to whoever turns this guy in right now. You know, like that quick.
You know, I feel, and I got to wonder about this. I really do. Because, like, off the go, I felt that the FBI had placed something within Evansdale and Delphi as a possibility. And I think that's why they wanted an agent there on the 14th. You know, that was kind of the, you know, my feeling on that.
Mm-hmm.
But then hang on.
Go ahead. I'm eating a taco.
Oh, man, you know what? I got offered a taco. I ain't went and got it yet, though. I'm from Belgium. Hey, right on. I think you did need what? Yeah, anyway, let me bring that back. Yeah, did we say location of suspect? I guess we just covered that.
Yep.
Well,
What next? Persons of interest?
Nah. Facial details. What do we know about facial details?
The woman walking her dog described him with a very thin goatee.
Now, see, he does not have a thin goatee in the second sketch either.
Correct. He doesn't have any facial hair.
Yeah. And I mean, that's just really weird. Why would they give you a younger looking photo without a hat and no facial hair?
When someone says they saw him facial hair and talked to him.
Knowingly do that. It's a little odd.
I don't know why they do that.
Okay, so allow me to take a second here at 7 p.m. and state that there's 210 people watching. It only takes a second on my clock to click that thumbs up button, and you'd be doing us a tremendous favor. And we send out a big thanks for viewing. We appreciate it.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, let's see, where were we? Facial details. Go ahead.
Yeah. So she also said that she couldn't remember the eye color, but described them as not blue.
Not blue.
Reddish brown hair. So we've got reddish brown hair. We've got a thin goatee. We got not blue eyes. That's really all we know. That based on the facial features, it looks like the person's in their 40s to 50s. So we can say kind of weathered, I guess, somewhat of a face, a little bit, you know what I mean? That you're not looking at a kid.
You know, it's like when I look at that first sketch, I don't know, man. I mean, it's just like the dimensions of his face make him look like a wino. You know where I'm at? It doesn't look like just average guy. It looks like some guy that's out there camping, you know?
Yeah.
You know, it doesn't look like just some guy, man.
I know. And it's like they put a lot of emphasis on that first sketch, the nose.
Yeah.
You know, the nose has got a lot of shading. It's just really, you know what I mean? The nose just seems like they focused on, well, the guy had a nose, you know, like this. You know, maybe that's something that just stuck out to her.
Now, when the case happened, and I'm looking at the photos after the photos came out, you know, I was bringing up the fact that this guy, and especially given the weight that he has on it, you know, because you can tell this ain't a skinny guy, you know, and I thought,
Exactly.
why did he have all of those clothes on such a beautiful day? You know, that's a lot of clothes for a man to be wearing. You
Yes.
see where I'm at? And
Mhm.
I kind of wonder now if he didn't have all those clothes on so that he could change out of them, you know, and then maybe carry him out or put him under or something like that because of what might occur to the clothes during the commission of the crime. You see where I'm at?
Mhm. That's a lot of thought being put into that.
Yeah.
You know? I mean, it is. That's a lot of thought to be thinking like, okay, if I do this and this happens, I need to be able to change my clothes. That's really thinking it out, you know?
Well, I look, I'm positive that this person did. I mean, you know, you look at the reversible dates equating to 5. Well, you add 5 years and minus 5 months, you got Delphi.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you know, that isn't that ain't abstract, man. That is something that somebody sat down and went over. They went over that tooth and nail, and they knew exactly what they were going to go there and do. You know, I mean, they didn't know to whom, but they knew what they wanted to go there and do to someone or some people. You know, it was already present in their mind.
Yeah, that this was going to happen today. Yeah.
And one more time, you know, for anybody who missed that off the go, if it was not the 2 girls that this did occur to, it in all likelihood would have been Cheyenne and her friend. And it would have been the identical. Okay, well, let's move to the next factoid. Employment.
Well, we know he wasn't at work that day.
We can say that that day, between those hours of 12 and 5, that this guy was not at work.
Correct. Probably excludes the opportunity that he works a second shift job too. Otherwise, he probably would have been there by then or headed there.
So you know, we can say that he was retired, disabled, unemployed, or worked a shift different than first, unless he called off that day. And if he lived locally and had called off that day with his photo and audio out there, he would have been hit. He would have been hit right off. It would not be pushing 4 years later and us looking at it.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. So, yeah, I mean, that's self-explanatory there. I mean, it's he didn't work for some reason, or he called off. You know, it's kind of one or the other.
Yep. Right. And this takes me back to what I was getting at. You know, during the first year press conference, Doug Carter, and that was really part of the reason for the question I asked him, you know, at the first year press conference, you know, because he was adamant about the fact that somebody knows who this is. Somebody knows exactly who this is. You know, you got to help us. You got to call us. Somebody knows. And I think that that reason was likely because they felt that that guy was from right around Delphi. You know, that somebody did know who it was, but didn't want to say who it was, or didn't want to point to that guy because it was a family member. And I think that that was the biggest reasoning, that they stuck by that. But then I wonder if they really felt that, because I know the FBI was in there on investigation. I believe the FBI, you know, had an agent there on the 14th because of the likelihood between it and Evansdale, that if one of the same happened, they'd have fresh evidence, you know, to help locate this guy quicker.
Yeah.
So then I wonder, because Carroll County would have been informed of that, especially after the girls were found. Now, why would they still maintain that the guy had lived locally if they felt, well, this guy is also out there? Now, it looks like, because all the statistics would show that they were one of the same. And now they had DNA. And I know that that DNA matched other DNA from unsolved cases. So I wonder why they were so adamant about the fact that he lived right there in and around Delphi. Even 2 years and 2 months later, we now feel this guy is hiding in plain sight right in front of us, that he's from around here. Well, how could anybody feel that he's from around Delphi? I mean, I don't. I know that guy would have been arrested immediately if he was from around Delphi. Even Carroll County. Somebody would have knew exactly who that was with the audio and video. It would have been unquestionable.
You're right.
You see where I'm at?
Yeah. But I mean, okay, so yeah, if they did think that there was a connection by Evansdale.
Yes.
How could they say that the guy's local? So you're telling me that a local guy from Delphi went and committed Evansdale and then came back to Delphi and did it again?
Well, exactly. And this is the point. Why would they maintain that this guy was from around there when in all likelihood they knew better that he was not from around there and they committed this random act in a different place? I'm sure that they were informed of that by the FBI. There would be no way around it. The FBI had an agent there, and when it did turn up like that, they would have told them through the course of the investigation that, look, I mean, this is like similar, exactly, right down to a reversible date. I mean, this is one of those very odd things, but this is a reality. We feel now that this is the guy, the same guy that committed Evansdale, committed this crime here. So why would a year later they be that adamant about the fact that somebody knows who this is, that he lives right around here, when I could have told them at that time that that is point blank not true?
They're too confusing.
Well, why are they confusing? I mean, it's not like
they don't know anything.
Come out and say a specific lie. You know, they wouldn't go out there and really lie.
No, but they have.
They have. I'll give them that. But I mean, they wouldn't go out there at that time and lie, because that first year press conference was to find out who the guy was. And I believe with all my heart that they're doing that, that they do want to know. But I don't know why that they would be spreading that when they already knew point well that the chances of them, of Delphi and Evansdale having a connection were more than just likely. That it was very much the same crime in a different place by the same dude.
But why wouldn't they just come out and say we're potentially seeking out to a serial killer? Is that to not scare people?
You know, okay. Yeah, all right, but I got to draw a suspect in here. A guy that I was looking at when I looked into the cases in Michigan, Mary Pryor and Ann Pates. In both of those crimes, they have DNA and fingerprints.
Okay.
Now, I told the guy, you know, the main dude, you know who I'm talking about. I said, I believe that those matched. And I think that you guys didn't go forward with that, because how are you going to go forward and say we have a raging sadistic serial killer out there, you know, but we don't know who it is? You see where I'm at? You don't do that to the public. So, you know, I wonder if that don't play in maybe.
But then you're asking for more victims. I guess you're not asking for it, but you're leading people to believe that this isn't going to happen no more. And when it does,
well, I think that, okay, but I can kind of answer to that. I think that they felt that they had evidence that they could put forward, being with the picture, and that somebody would know who it was. And I think that they felt that they could have located him very quickly like that, but it didn't happen. But I think through that time, they had to stretch things along by giving a little
bit here, yeah.
You know, misinformation through and through, because it was really dependent upon that photo solving it.
And they was adamant about that, even a year in.
Exactly.
Are you depending on that picture? I remember your comment specifically. Are you depending on someone to identify that image? Is that what you're wanting here? Someone to call in and say,
3 times.
That is this guy for sure. And you're like, I don't think it's possible, man. It's too pixelated. Nobody can't tell who that is. It could be anybody. It looks like this guy and that guy and that guy and that guy and that guy. Looks like all these guys. Sounds like all these guys.
1,000 tips phoned in.
Yeah, and he says, I agree with you completely. But if you look from the neck down, you would, if I look from the neck down,
that's
and
a $1 billion question.
The dude puts a blue coat on and washed out blue jeans and pixelates himself through an app. Of course, I might be like, it kind of looks like that guy too.
Yeah,
but you don't. We can't.
How many times have we been at the dollar store and go, "Oh, there's Bridge Guy"?
How many times have you seen someone wearing exactly the same thing as him? Several times.
Yeah,
all the time. You know, exactly same outfit.
In the Midwest in February, everybody dresses like that.
Almost identical, man. I took a video of some dude at Walmart dressed identical. The same hat that they had on the sketch. A hat like yours. Same hat, the blue coat, the washed out blue jeans. And I'm like, man, dude, there he is. Like that's him, you know, but it's not him. But that's just, if you were to look at someone and say, if you're looking for that guy, there's people out there that look exactly like that.
If that guy was to show up dressed the same, I mean, let's just say,
would you even recognize him?
And he walked down the main street of Delphi, would anybody stop and go, holy shit, that's him?
Probably not. They'd be like, man, he dressed like that guy, but that's not him.
Yeah, I've seen 5 other people that look like that, you know?
That's what's crazy.
That looks like him. And anymore, everybody, you know, I mean, like anybody that they pull up, he looks like the sketch. He looks like that. Well, you know, it depends on what you're putting in it. Does he have facial hair like the sketch? Does he really look like the sketch? You know, there's been a lot of people that was turned in because of the sketch, because of the photos, because of the audio. You know, everybody thought it was their crazy Uncle Larry. That was, you know, everybody was turned in, including the sheriff. I mean, you know, everybody got a piece. Hell, we was turned in.
Everybody's been
turned in, of all people.
Everybody's been turned in.
I'm like, dude, look at me, for the love of God. Just look at me, please, man. You can tell them well I'm not that guy.
Yeah. I mean, people just, they tip in everything.
Yeah, they do, man. Okay. All right. Well, we covered that. And I guess we'll go to the last one. Is the Delphi suspect, is he a serial killer? And if yes, by what evidence would you give? Or anybody for that matter. I mean, you know, this goes across the board, so don't just take it as.
Yeah, you guys can answer for me.
Well, they can't answer for you.
Well, okay. So
they can answer for themselves.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess I have a hard time with this question. the individual has serial killer mentality. I believe that he has the ability to, if this is the first time that he is killed, then I believe that he could possibly do it again, or would do it again beyond that point. If it is not the first time that this individual has killed, and the individual put out this much planning and effort, then yes, that is a serial killer mentality, whether it's a beginning serial killer or someone who has done this repeatedly.
Well, okay, I'll throw on that. That if you got a man, and just from what we know, just from what it is that's been made publicly available, we know that he showed up at a trail and he waited.
Right.
And he waited for someone that he thought would be a good victim, and then took them across the creek, committed a brutal murder upon them for reasons that are completely unknown, and then left there.
Yeah.
Now, that right there, that is not the act of, how would I put it? It's not something that a person in their right mind just goes and does. You know, nobody goes and does something like that. Now, I don't think it's something that somebody just, I'm going to go do that. You know, I think that it's something that's built over a long time. So, you know, I do feel that it was very much like a serial killer crime. You know, I do. And I mean, I really got to tie Evansdale into it because of the similarities. It goes beyond happenstance or statistics that it could just occur that way. Yeah, I think it goes well beyond that. They're identical crimes. 2 small towns, 2 highways, 2 small trails, 2 girls found in the woods by a creek on reversible dates. 5 each equals 5. 5 years minus 5 months between the 2. You know, it was set up purposely like that. So I would add that to it. I mean, I could add the 2 in Michigan. I mean, I feel that they're part of it.
Yeah, exactly. But, now,
you know, I mean, if I go beyond that, I don't know. You know, and I'm only using what I found, you know, between those as my basis as calling them that. But as far as I know, I mean, this could stretch many states in many directions because we don't know how this guy travels, why, when he would do this, if it's often or occasional. You know, we don't really know anything about that. If we are calling it a serial murder, you know, because I can't give like handfuls. I can't say he's done all these. I mean, I can in, say, it'd be 6, 7 overall with a possible 8th.
Yeah, I know.
I would. I mean, I would say, yeah, serial killer.
Yeah. Jenny DeWitt says, why law enforcement say no danger to the public? Well, he came out and clarified that in the video that Angela did. Truth and Justice. She actually went and clarified that. Hey, you said there's no danger to the public. Can you explain why? And his response was simple. We pretty much just covered that. You don't want to put people in a sense of panic. We felt that this incident was an isolated incident, specifically there, that it probably wasn't going to be happening all over town in the next few days. But you don't want to go out there like he said.
I would agree. I mean, I would, because you're looking at this, and no matter how you look at it, if it's an isolated crime by someone that's local, they're probably not going to go out and repeat this right away and get caught. You know, they're probably packed up and leaving, you know, not to be seen locally. You got their picture, you got their audio. This guy's probably on the run in Long Gone Alley here, and we will find him. You see where I'm at?
Yes.
So I don't think that they was trying to say, look, man, this is a crazy homicide. We don't know who did it. For the love of God, don't go out. Because the entire world would have been like, you know,
exactly.
Everybody would have just crapped right there in their pants.
Yeah, you don't want to do that to people.
I think the same thing applies up there in Genesee County, Michigan. They wasn't going to come out with that. They would have looked really bad, man. And yeah, they want those cases solved. And I believe that they got them solved. I believe that they are now solved. And they are awaiting trial. Let's see. I think that ends up the facts. Unless you got another. You got a fact that you'd like to bring up? I told you to bring some.
Well, I mean, pretty much they're all the facts are the facts, you know.
Well, yeah, you know, I like to give them out as to how we feel about it and why. because, you know, if I give something as a fact and I got to sit here and explain it, but I mean, like you and I were here through most of this.
Yeah, since the beginning.
Yeah.
Since the very beginning of this. A fact is that well, I don't know, it's hard to explain. I don't know. Go ahead. Let's go on to the next one.
Okay.
Well, because I mean, like, I don't know. There's lots of things that people are going to see on these. When you first get involved in this case, you're going to read some blogs of people's, you're going to see some videos of people's. And if you're new to this case, to this channel, or you've come over here from mine or whatever, you end up watching this, you're going to hear a lot of crap. Okay. You're going to hear that all this stuff happened and all these people were involved and that they're cooking meth under the bridge and there's people out there having sex under the bridge and this person's connected to this person who's connected to this dude. And none of it's true. It's just people saying stuff. And so you really got to be careful on what you pick through here, because you're going to find a lot of crap and it's going to confuse you. And people will tell you it as fact. Like, no, this happened. You know, this happened. Ron Logan was cooking dope in the woods and he was paying the cartel to come out here and do this. And it's like, where does this even come from?
Yeah.
You know, so it's like, for the people out there that's going to watch this, just know that, like, use common sense, check and then check and then check to make sure that you're not getting a bunch of crap. You know, I see Jason is talking about Kurtz. Confirm this. I talked to Kurtz. Okay. And Angela talked to the investigators in Newton County, and they specifically said he's not involved in a Delphi case. And what did Kurtz say? He said this on somebody else's podcast, that he was involved and he failed a polygraph and all this stuff. But the fact of the reality is, he came out and said he was just lying to her to get money from her. So, I mean, he's just saying stuff to mix people up because he knows he's hit and he's in prison for a long time. You know, Tommy Johnson was out there with us last Saturday, and he said, Kurtz is full of crap, dude. There's no possible way he just ran across this bridge. Nobody's running across that bridge. He said he got drunk and ran and would run across the bridge. It's not happening.
No.
You know, that's not happening.
No.
You know?
No, I dare somebody to run across that bridge.
It's not possible. Dude, I made it. Do you know how quick I made it across that bridge last week? How long do you think? Take a guess. I started at the northwest side and headed to the southeast side at a fast walk, I guess. How quick do you think I made it? 2.5. Oh, you're giving me better credit.
What?
3 minutes. 3 minutes and 3:23.
You know, I was going to say 3, but I thought, nah, he's talking about a race, so I kind of took a little off of that. Yeah, it's still really quick. Yeah. How long did it take you the first time?
Like 10-15 minutes.
No, it didn't take us that long.
Yeah, but we was lingering too.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, I don't think. I mean, I think at first, I mean, it depends, because we wasn't trying to race across it. We was trying to feel it out as we was going across, you know, as you do. But I'm sure it took every bit of 5 to 6 minutes. I mean, if we was just up there just walking across.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the first time's always going to be the slowest. When you go back, it's quicker. You know, each time after that, it just becomes, you know what to do. All right, let's go to persons of interest. And let's start with number 1. DN. We won't give the full name. I'll type it down in the chat box. We are discussing
that dude.
The main guy, the first dude.
The first dude.
Is that him? Yeah. Right.
There's our first dude. There he is.
My God. He's scary, isn't he?
Looks a lot like that bridge guy, doesn't he?
God, man.
So there's the dude.
DN.
Yep. And so that guy had me pretty much convinced that he was probably our guy at the time. Convicted sex offender. lived on the run, disappeared the day after the sketch was released.
He was living under a railroad bridge that looked a whole lot like Monon High Bridge.
Yeah.
Right there by Martinsville.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, crazy.
Had a very opposite story where he was compared to his wife's story.
Yeah.
Had been caught at hiking trails multiple times.
Yeah.
Publicly masturbating.
Yeah.
Stalking women. Chasing him down. Jumping out of his vehicle with his pants off. Meeting up at Walmart to show himself to people.
While masturbating. This was not a moral man.
This is not a very good. This is not a guy with manners.
He came from a crack house with an abusive, molesting father. I mean, it was hard times for the nation's family.
Yes, mother was killed by the uncle in a fight over crack cocaine. Brother was murdered in Colorado.
Yeah, that's right. He was the first one in what county was that? Not forget the county. He was
El Paso.
El Paso. Maybe you're right. Yeah, El Paso County.
Yeah. Comes from a whole line of problems, everything.
Man. And you know what? After the fact, I kind of felt a little sorry for him. I thought, man, this poor man. I mean, after all he had been through in his life, including public masturbation, he gets hit with this. People are calling him a child killer. They got to keep him. It's like, you know what? Life hasn't been good to Mr. Nations. Life is kind of taking a crap on that family in a hard way.
Yeah,
we did an interview with his wife,
Caitlin.
Yeah,
a couple of them.
Yeah, and it was between the information that he was giving us and she had given us, because he's all like, yeah, no, she would say that because she's too embarrassed to say we was living in the car, but no, we was at Walmart that day and I got her a flower because it was, all kinds of things, man. He remembered that. And, she was to his side. No, I was living there. He was under a railroad bridge. And, yeah.
Yeah. Dude, that was like breaking. Okay, so for anybody that's newer or has come onto this in the newer time, you guys really missed it because we was really there on top of this fast. Like this is where it all began really heavy was with this guy. Like looking into it really hard because we had someone to look into,
and we did.
And
we looked into him so hard and found so much stuff from prior sex offenses in other states, from when he was in the military. His anger issues. The fact that the sexual, each time kept going up and aggravating. Kept getting a little bit deeper. And it really made him look as a really good suspect, as a person of interest. And we searched over his life, the drug issues with his mom being killed, his dad being a child molester, dying in prison.
He's in the same area that a dude gets killed. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
legendary cyclist, man, Tim Watkins. That's crazy. And he was shot with the 22. What he
happened to have.
22, and that was part of him getting hit. Now, I draw this up because he had a 22 and there was, as marked in the media, similarities between the Delphi crime. Now, I also draw this up because the man down in St. Louis had a 22 and he was drawn up with similarities. Could a 22 not be a similarity within the Delphi crime?
Precisely. That's exactly what I've been saying is when they come out and said there was similarities in his case versus the guy behind you, that leads you to believe, well, what are they? What are the similarities from versus him versus the other dude? Okay. There's got to be some reason on Nations and Bruce. There's some connection there. And the only thing that we know of is this guy, the guy behind Bruce is a sex offender. Nations, Bruce is not. Well, he is a sex offender. Bruce is a sex offender. He committed. He is now. Okay. Yeah. Well, but Nations is a convicted sex offender.
I was going to say he's not convicted. He's not convicted yet, but he will be.
Okay. So the circumstances of their things, they both have, one allegedly, one has committed sexual crimes. They both had a 22.
Yes.
Okay. Those are two things that we know for a fact, that they both had a gun and they both have committed a sexual crime.
Yes.
With one of them shooting someone. Okay. So,
well, we can say one, but we don't know about the other four.
It's a very good possibility.
It never came back on Tim Watkins, the legendary cyclist, as to who killed him.
I know, and they're still searching.
We know that he was killed by a 22 and covered up. Now, we drew a similarity between that and the way that his mom was found, because she was found under stems and leaves, and so was he. And we thought, wow, that's kind of a like similarity.
And it's the rumor in Delphi that one of the girls was kind of partially buried under leaves.
Exactly. Now, when it comes to that, because that's something maybe we could discuss as fact, is the screenshots from Facebook. Is that real? And if it is real, how much should we put into that? Because it does not appear like something that would be stated on Facebook to another person when you're not really supposed to be talking about that off the go.
Exactly. And that's the thing is that real? Those screenshots from one of the family members who said they found the bodies, is that real? I think to a degree it is, in a way, some of it, but I think it was just blown way out of proportion. I think it was just way exaggerated.
Well, I don't know why. I mean, especially given who the guy is and the relationship too.
Yeah.
Why he would try to blow something out of proportion when what happened was already out of proportion. I mean, it's already international news, that something like this happened. So I don't know why he would try to make it seem bigger than when law enforcement has already stated many times over that it was a brutal crime.
Yeah. And that just makes it.
I hold it that it could be true, but I don't mark it as solidly true because, look, you and I know you can take a screenshot, off of a message I sent you, man. Take that, man, clone in a white background, put in this
change it,
and make it say anything you want.
I've had people do it for me.
Yeah.
Do it to me and make it look like I'm out there messaging people on Facebook and put messages on things and make it look like I said this stuff. And it's not even true. It's like I never even said that.
Yeah.
So we know, I mean, we've seen that, we've seen that happen with people. People will deliberately create a fake, looks like a real text message and put it out there to people. So it's hard to decipher if that's real or not real.
True Crime Investigates. What would you think if someone contacted you and said they know who BG is and he is close friends with nations?
Then I would say, why hasn't it been tipped in? And I've heard a lot of people tell me they know exactly who the bridge guy is.
So have I.
Lots. I get it all the time. People tell me all the time, I know exactly who that is. It's my brother. It's my dad. It's my friend. It's my ex-boyfriend. It's my husband. It's this cop, that cop. It's you. It's whoever, and none of it pans out. And the only thing I say is if someone contacts me and says, you've got a person that you feel it is, tip it into the law enforcement tip line. Tip it in. Yeah.
If somebody contacted me with that comment, I would immediately block them. I would block them. Look, I'm a guy that wants to shine, but there's a part of me that says, look, if that's where your common sense lies, go away. Go away. Because, man, there's something that's not right with that. That beats all theories. That just breaks it all down to a new level. I'm not going to be that dude.
Exactly.
Okay, so this brings us to the next person of interest. You may remember this guy's name. We'll call him CE.
CE.
Oh, come on, man.
What? No, hold on, man. I know who he is. Hold on. Man,
Do you?
Don't think I don't know who he is, dude.
Yeah, why are you looking him up, man?
I'm not. Put it in there. Pull it up.
I am down there. Now you know.
No,
now
pull
you
him
know
up.
what
Pull
I'm
him
talking
up. I got a picture of him. That's what I was doing.
about. I bet you was.
I was. See the picture? You can pull it up. Show them all.
Okay. See, now it says remove then add. It's like, come on.
There you go. There he is.
Remove then add. There he is, right there. Now, if he don't look scary, and I've had nightmares that weren't as bad off as that mugshot.
Yeah, that's pretty bridge guy looking-ish.
God, dude, if I seen that guy, I would run.
Yeah.
I just don't trust that face, man. Thank you, Mike. It's exactly right.
Yep. And I mean, that dude, that's a scary looking one right there. So he was caught in a sting operation after trying to solicit a 13-year-old girl to have sex. After he was busted, it was found out that he actually did do that to another younger child, and admitted to it, and was charged with 2 counts of child molesting and solicitation of a 13-year-old girl. So that's down in Indiana, which is like southeast. That's southeast, right? More towards like east of Indianapolis. I can't remember what the town's name was. Randolph County. Where's that at? What town is Randolph County?
No idea. I know it's south, and I think west.
Is it?
No,
Hold on, I'm looking it up right now. Randolph County, Indiana is going to be, what's the county seat here? The county seat is Winchester.
Oh, Winchester. Never been.
Union City. Okay, so that's totally straight east of Muncie. Okay, so straight east of Muncie. So we are at mid-central Indiana, just north. Yeah. So there it is. So it's on the eastern side on your way to Dayton, Ohio. Bad dude. Do we have any update on that guy?
Yeah, he's probably in prison getting it up the backside about right now.
So what was
that's my hope.
What was your initial thought on him?
No, dude, look, as soon as they was bringing people up like that, because I know how people do, man. They see something, somebody says it, they buy into it, they immediately think it's him and start spread. So when I hear the name, I'm like, yeah. I look at the photo and I'm like, and I look up and I'm like, no. Criminal background. It was after the first year. I mean, I knew that the guy had, and when I seen criminal background there and everything, I'm just like, yeah, it's not him. And like law enforcement knows it's not him. So do I. And again, I mean, I tell people with that clip on Kim Riley, that wasn't given to the media. That wasn't given to WTHR, Rafael Sanchez, Fox 59. That was our factoid. That's what we got.
Yeah, that was ours. We uncovered that. Nobody else uncovered that.
And
a lot of people don't realize that.
Exactly. And that's why I put that out there, that's real, man. That is a real fact. This guy never got caught committing a crime. So if he has prior convictions where he had been fingerprinted, Survey says it's not him. And that was my whole thoughts on Eldridge. It wasn't him.
Yeah.
So
I never really thought it was him either.
I don't have these in a specific order, but there's the next guy. Wait, and did it disappear? Oh, there it is. Okay, it's down there.
Oh, that guy? Okay, so he's our newest one.
The new dude.
The new dude. Yeah, so here we go.
He's looking.
Dude, I got files on everybody. You best believe it. I'm there, man. I'm like, so there, I'm there. Like, I got them all, man. We've got to have them all. We've got a list of these people, and there he is. Got him pulled up for everybody. Here's our new dude.
Wait, can we do that?
What?
Well, he's not blurred.
What is
I don't know if we could just show people's mugshots. They'll be like, you're implying he did it,
No, we're just saying that it's been on the news here recently that he came up as a possible
there's no fake cat.
Yeah, no, this guy was allegedly abducted a 9-year-old girl in Lafayette, Indiana. had her in his basement locked up when the cops showed up looking for the missing girl. A dog bit her. He sexually assaulted her, according to the affidavit. And he frequents like outdoors fishing and stuff like that. He's got some weird tattoos. Some say they look like the Delphi girls. Already got beat up in jail.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right on.
Wow, he got beat up, dude. What do we make of this guy? It's close. He's in Lafayette.
Yeah, and I could give it that. I mean, you know, as far as like being in Lafayette, I mean, I think that there's other pieces that kind of outweigh. But I mean, especially off the bat, if a guy was living in Lafayette and carried a resemblance to the sketch, the photos, you know, sexual offense, it would have definitely put him in the spotlight as being a person of interest. You know, after the first year with no prior convictions, it kind of really pulled that, you know, out of the picture, especially with felonies.
It does too. And a lot of people don't get that. People point the finger at these people. And a lot of people are like, well, you created a story on it. Okay. I made a big story on it before the news hit it. I already had the story out. And then they all fell in sync. And people are like, well, you made a story on it, so you think it's him. Not necessarily. I feel that if I'm going to give an update on Delphi, that I need to give updates on Delphi with what everybody's talking about, you know, the things that are going to be hitting the media, to give everybody a full explanation. Because like you said earlier, we dig a little deeper than the media. We don't give you a 2-minute presentation and say, there you go, that's it, dwell on it for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
No, we're going to dig and dig and dig and show up at this dude's house and talk to his family. You know what I mean? Dig up every single thing about him and then give you the whole scenario.
The presentation. You know?
Yeah, the presentation for real.
Yeah.
And that's the kind of news that people really want, is like a more in-depth thing on it, not just a quick clip that says, oh, this dude could be the dude, you know.
Okay, what about this guy? The guy that killed himself.
Oh.
I don't know his name because I never needed to know his name. I'm just going to be point blank honest. I didn't give a crap what his name was. No, it wasn't him. So, you know, what about that guy? Do you know anything about that guy that killed himself?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
That guy?
That dude.
You don't know? You don't know his name for real?
No. What is his name? Oh, yeah. I heard of it. I've heard of it.
Okay. So that guy right there, this guy on the right, not the left.
Yeah, no, on the left.
Yeah. So what do we make of that dude there? Oh, not that dude. Not that dude. Not that.
Not
dude.
him. Not them.
All right. So the first guy. All right, you can pull us back up if you want. What do we make about Eder? Eder Lafayette as well. Abducted a woman. Now here's the thing: a woman pulled into the driveway at his house, his farmhouse, and had a flat tire. Had a problem with her vehicle. He goes out to help. Hey, you need some help? No, I'm good. Just got a flat tire. Just gonna try to make it down the road to someone else's house, and I should be all right. Okay. Girl leaves, driving down the road. He gets in his vehicle, follows her, stops her, handcuffs her, takes her home, locks her up, sexually assaults her for hours, and then takes her back to her vehicle and lets her go. She goes and tells on the dude. Cops go on a manhunt for him based on who they think it is. He goes on the run, hiding. They're doing a hunt for a few days. Finally corner him up in Lebanon. Dude ends up shooting himself. Then he comes out as, now investigators searching DNA of this guy for Delphi. Well, number one, he's not 18 to 40. Number two, he looks nothing like either one of the sketches, because they would have said the dude's bald. Okay.
He didn't have hair.
Yeah, he didn't have hair. Definitely a bad person. And if people were like, well, but he was talking about the Delphi murders in text messages. Yeah, but who don't?
Yeah, you know, and I can say that. I mean, look, if you lived in or around Indiana, man, back around that time, it would be very odd if you weren't talking about them, because that was big news. That was topic of conversation, you know, between friends, work, you know, no matter where you're at, that's people's talking about that. You know, and a lot of people say, well, they had stuff on their channel about the Delphi murders. Well, yeah, so what? So did we. So did everybody. You know, that's not like isolated or make you a person to point at as a suspect.
No, it just means that you've heard about it.
Yeah.
You know, and like he said, everybody's heard about it around here. Everybody's talked about it. You know, when I'm out and about in places in Indiana and I say something and I say, well, I'm from Delphi, people automatically say, oh, you're from where those 2 girls were killed.
Yes.
And I'm like, yes. So they know, you know, they know what it is, and they're not even from there. I just happen to randomly come across people wherever it may be in the state and sometimes out of state, and they know exactly what it's about. So it's not crazy for people to just think about that or have shared something on Facebook or YouTube or whatever it is. Hey, what's up?
231 views. Hit that like button. Look, if you got a second, and I do, hit that little thumbs up. You'd be doing me a great favor. God bless you.
Yes.
Okay, so let's go to the next person of interest. That one dude's father.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
People got a hold of me going,
yeah, I'm not going to post that.
What do you think about that? And I'm like, I don't know the guy's name, but I've seen people put it in chat. But I mean, it's like I tell people, if this guy figured it out and he's telling everybody, my dad did it, I'm like, well, that's the same thing as just saying that law enforcement's stupid. You know, that they just don't know what the hell they're doing. Okay. And again, man, I don't put anything into that aside of the guy seeking attention.
I'm going to read a comment from the Carroll County Comet from the sheriff that said right here. Where's it at? All right. Here was a question. This is a question that was in the Carroll County Comet to the sheriff. Question: do investigators follow tips from social media? One person, a Sean, posted that his father and son were connected to the homicides. Was this tip investigated fully? The answer from the sheriff is, the simple response is, yes. Information which is felt to be legitimate to the investigation is followed into. This is not the arena for speaking to a particular inquiry or tip. Okay, so therefore, that was posted way back in February 24th, 2021. Therefore, I think that they've looked into that information and have probably cleared that individual.
Okay, so let's go to, oh, yeah. And this is a good one. Hold on, I wanted to pull up the whole of this.
Okay. Go ahead, I'm going to grab a drink.
But we was discussing this pre-show.
What?
That Cummings dude.
Oh.
That Cummings guy from Lafayette, whom the troll put up a picture of Daniel Nations and tried to make it look like he had played like he was this dude and he got hit for, you know, I thought that was crazy, trollish, but it was brilliant at the same time, because whoever it was did know, and it did investigation enough to know that he was related to the Cummings.
Yeah, and someone was on it.
So somebody was really fact checking and doing some due diligence to find that and know that and then fake it like that, because everybody bought into that, you know. And I knew that I had seen that mugshot before, and I knew I had it and traced it back to Morgan County, and it was a Morgan County snapshot and was not taken by Lafayette. And I'm like, you see that right there? That's the ball buster. That shows it ain't real, you know. But a lot of people was thinking that was Daniel Nations that had pulled that off and got away with saying he was somebody else. That was a relative of his. Very odd.
Yeah, dude, that's... And the things that you see in this case where people do stuff like that to purposely hurt, to purposely throw people off, that hurts the investigation. That is the kind of crap that law enforcement's like, don't do that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, why are you just purposely making stuff up to throw people off, to try to convince people that it's not this dude? You know, what is the point of that? I mean, there's people out there that dress like the bridge guy just to be funny, you know, and like make videos like pretending that they're involved or stuff like that. This is nuts. Like, it's nuts. You get into a whole, dude, this true crime stuff brings out some crazy people.
Oh, you ain't got to tell me twice.
I mean, we've seen it.
Man, I've seen it. I've heard it. I've had telephone calls from it, emails, everything, non-ending. And there are a lot of people with a lot of crazy ideas, people that think they know this case. And as soon as you start talking about them, they bring up this crazy ass theory in it. And I'm like, whoa, stop. Because quite clearly, you don't know crap about this case, period. But for the love of God, stay off of Facebook. It's going to run your mind.
Dude, tell him about, okay, I'm going to grab a drink real quick. Tell him about the dude who said, I know what that white thing is underneath the guy's shirt.
Oh, yeah. The Elvis?
Yes, dude, tell him real quick. I'm already laughing.
Me in an email and was telling me, he goes, the suspect was wearing a 1972 Elvis World Tour shirt. He said, I had a shirt just exactly like that. So, you know, and I'm like, because I didn't understand where he was going with that. And I'm like, well, why would he have that on? Well, that's why the girls had the telephone now, because the guy that was with him was an Elvis impersonator and they were singing to the girls, you know, and it was like, at that point, I'm like, what? I mean, like, dude, that is the stupidest concocted theory I've ever heard in my life. And the guy was very upset because it was not my theory, so I wouldn't believe it. And I'm like, yeah, you know, and it makes me wonder, was that Michael? Was that the Cunningham? Was it him? You know, was that his little, you know, and the lady that needed a safe place to go, was it his little doings? She needed a safe place. It took her an hour and a half. I don't even know where the safe place was, but she was talking about that. She was a taxi driver in Lafayette. This guy she picked up was talking about the case. And she goes, well, I think it's Ronald Logan. And he goes, no, I guarantee you it's not Ronald Logan. How would he know it wasn't Ronald Logan unless he did it? Block right there. Later, lady. And thanks for wasting my time. You know, there are so many people out there that think at a level like that, and you don't know until you talk to them. And then it becomes quite clear. Yeah, they just wasted a part of your life. You know, they just wasted a good piece of it.
I know, dude. They just wasted a part of your life.
Yeah.
It's true, though. You get some crazy stuff. Like, I have heard it all. And I'm just like, what?
Dude, we should really just make a whole video on
the craziness.
Just what we've heard over the last like 5 years, you know, just the comments and the things and the emails and it goes crazy. I mean, like right down to the beginning when people were claiming it was Ronald Logan, we're like, for the love of God, people, it's not Ronald Logan. What the hell's wrong with you? He's like 77 years old. He ain't out there walking across there like a fat man.
Yeah, I know. And people are just freaking out. They're like, it's him, dude.
It's not him.
Dude, remember when we was at his court hearing? And there was those two ladies that was over there, and they're like, hey, that's the guy that killed those girls, isn't it? And we're like, well, no, no, that's the guy, this property that the girls were found on, but that's not the guy that killed those girls. You know, like people are just pointing the finger at him because of Inside Edition doing that down the hill, you know? Yeah.
Like, yeah, man, I remember how we did that because we had it lined up that when he came in, you was going down the front, I would go up, I'd get him entering. When he's going down, you'd be outside, we'd go, go down. That way we could be out, and we're running down those steps to beat the elevator. So we get out there, and then you're like, Mr. Logan, you got anything you want to say?
No, he didn't say nothing.
And I still got that. It's so cool. That's a good clip, man.
It is a good clip. I mean, he's right there. I figured, ask him, why not? If he's going to say something, man, we want to get that shot. We want people to hear what he has to say.
And aside to that, we sent him a letter when he was in prison. Never got a reply.
Nope.
not even get a letter back from me. He never even acknowledged it to my thoughts there.
Exactly, man. And remember, I went to his modification hearing.
Yeah,
and that video.
Will he be modified?
That's
or
what
will he go back to prison? Find out.
Find out on Tuesday. Yeah. So, yeah, that's some good promo work right there. But like, no. So his modification hearing, I was standing there asking him the same thing. Hey, man, you got anything to say about, Delphi murders? Do you have anything to say about, this person of interest or anything? No comment. No comment at all. And then, so actually just went to his house last week.
Did you?
Yeah. So he was outside mowing his grass, went and talked to him.
Man, he's still out mowing grass.
Yeah, dude, he was pretty red-faced too because it was hot out. But yeah, I went over there and talked to him. Talked to him a little bit. Asked for an interview. He politely declined. He says, "No, I don't want to do that no more. The last time I did that, I went to jail."
Yeah, man.
That's exactly what he said. Last time I did that, I went to jail.
A victim of circumstance was he, man. And I'll tell you why. He paid a price. He did. Yeah. And I felt very bad for him. Because it was just, he was brought into this. And no matter how you look at it, the girl showing up, it being his property, it was all the circumstances that led to that. Mm-hmm. But he ended up going to prison for it. They had him in Carroll County. They had to move him down to Clinton County, for his own safety, because you know how Carroll County is. Probably everybody in there screaming they was going to kill him or some shit. Probably terrified the old man, and he didn't have any beer.
Actually, here, I've got a clip, an unedited clip here. I got a picture. Look at this.
Oh, him mowing the grass.
Can you see him?
Yeah, that's Ron. That's
wait.
Ron, all right.
There he is.
Hang on, back it up.
Hold on.
I want to make sure it ain't somebody faking it. Nope, that's Ron. I can tell by the lean. Yep.
By the lean.
I can tell by his lean forward. That's him.
Yeah, that's Ron. So, yeah. So that's him. So yeah, I saw him when I was over at the cemetery, and I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna go down there and talk to Ron real quick," Yeah,
that's good. See, I wanted to kind of do something to an interview with him, and more of just an audio. That way, he didn't have to be, like on camera, but just so he can cover that. Look, man, I didn't have anything to do with this. It was on my property, and that's very sad. But that way he could just kind of state for the record his thoughts. It ain't on the news. It ain't Inside Edition. It's nobody that's going to edit it to make him look like he's suspicious. It'd just be his statement. And that's as far as of an interview I wanted to do. But just kind of clear him out of it.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I was telling him the other day is, I don't want you to think like, man, because I even told him that before. It's like, dude, I don't want you to ever think like I've been the one to try to implicate you in this at all. I know what you had going on, and I know that you were not involved in this. And, if anything, I just want you to be able to clear up some things that people are saying, like all these questions and stuff. And he's like, yeah, I don't want to do that. So.
Yeah. And I see his point.
Yeah.
Hey, look at his age. What? He's like 80.
Yeah. He's 80 something.
So, his age, he don't want to be bothered with that. He just wants everybody to shut up and go away and forget about it.
Yeah.
He's had his share of it, man.
Yeah.
So let's go to the guy that worked at Chrysler. They're from Kokomo.
Yep.
You hold on. All right, I hope you're not looking him up, man.
No, I got him right here. It's man. You know his name, right?
Go ahead. No.
JD.
Go ahead.
Duvall. Say it. Duvall.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Duvall. Yeah.
Duvall. Yeah. Okay, so he was one.
Did you have his picture?
Yeah, I got it's taken forever to pull up, but I've got it pulled up a YouTube video, so I'm not gonna play that.
I was ready to hit the ad too.
Hold on. I'll show everybody what it looks like anyway. But yeah, so this guy that we're getting ready to talk about, we specifically went and talked to the sheriff about him. and asked a question about him. I remember you said, what about that guy over there in Kokomo? You know, and the sheriff was like, what did he say to us that day? That he's like, yeah, you know, we've looked into him, and you know, I guess we can't really say too much more on that, but they did say that they was looking into the dude.
Yeah, I think pretty rightfully given, you know, his background. But then again, we found things out later that the guy had never been caught committing a crime, and that would have placed him immediately out of the picture. And I see why they wasn't looking at that immediately, because they had DNA, they had fingerprints, and they would have knew immediately if it was him, because it would have pulled up right away with the match.
Yeah. And I mean, it's just quickly cleared that guy.
And his criminal background, yeah, it really put him as a first-degree person of interest right away.
Yeah. Yep. And I think he was actually one of the first people that was discussed online.
Yeah.
You're
right.
Yeah.
Now, the one kid that lived out there on Bicycle Road that had walked home down the railroad tracks, and they did a search of the house but said they didn't find anything.
Maxwell.
That they didn't feel they had anything to do with it. I mean, that was kind of, especially off the go, because you hear that they raid a house and that they're looking for stuff. You automatically feel, you know,
they did it. Yeah.
You know, nature, that person probably had something to do with it. But they cleared him and the guy in Peru that they had searched his house as well. Mm-hmm. You know, that they were covered, and they didn't feel they had anything at all to do with it.
Yeah, and that's weird. And they pretty much said that at the 1-year press conference, that everybody led up to that point that they'd spoken with, they felt confident that there was no involvement.
Yeah.
You know, that's like saying without saying that they've cleared individuals.
Exactly. Now, the same applied at the first year with Daniel Nations, because he was the top of the person of interest, you know, right there. Now, they had just got him back to, what was that?
Johnson County. Greenwood.
Johnson County, exactly. Just got him back there, and you know, talked to him over the week pre first year. They got him back like that quick and talked to him, and stated that they didn't feel that it was him. You know, like, we talked to him, we don't feel at this time that he had you know, he's covered. We don't want to really talk about that. Now, he was at the top of the list, person of interest wise. Now, once he was off that table, you know, and we realized that this person had never got caught committing a crime before, it really took a lot off the table, because any place that we would have naturally looked to find this guy, you know, being a sexual offender or the like, was kind of off the table. You know, we knew that he'd never been arrested. So, and it's just like you and I tell everybody, man, from Carroll County, if they've never been to prison, we probably don't know them.
Yeah.
You know, it's like everybody we know, they've been in jail one time or another.
Yeah. Everybody goes to jail in Carroll County.
Yeah.
They've been in jail.
Even the sheriff goes there every day.
The sheriff, he's there half his time, you know. Man, look at that comment right there from Michael Green. Hey, Katt and Green, whatever happened to the interviews of women on death row?
Oh,
dude, you're taking it back, dude. You're like, we can tell you've been a subscriber for a while.
Let me tell you, I was thinking about that, and it was less than 2 weeks ago. I was looking back at the old videos that we did that I had on record, and one was women on death row. Did they do it? Find out. Moment before death row.
Yeah, dude, I remember those. Those was...
Gotta get some letters out, man. I gotta send some letters to death row. I gotta be the one to kick that off.
Yeah, dude, it'll be epic, because that was that. If that can happen, you know what I mean? That would so be cool, dude. Just those, because those promos and that story that we did on Krista.
Yeah.
Like, that is, yeah. And now with the editing way better than it was then.
We could own that, man.
Yeah. That's a television show right there, dude.
Women on death row.
Yeah. And then pow, you know. Yeah,
pow.
Michael Green. Yeah. Pow. Pow. Yeah.
Right in the kisser. Man, Krista McPike, man. I mean, she was hot. So was Kathy Smith. You know, and it's like so many of these women, I'm just like, my God, man. You know, had they not have committed serial murder, I mean, you know, There could have been a thing going on there. Because all of them are good looking. I'm just like, God doesn't create ugly serial killing women. That's a fact.
Eileen Warnhose.
Yeah, well, okay, my bad. That's one. It's not that I threw her out of the bed, but I wanted to have a great time. Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah, Warnos. Woo.
Woo, yeah.
Yeah, there's always got to be that one.
Oh man, see what you started, Michael Green?
Yeah, see what you kicked off, dude. Sir,
I don't have a suspect.
you don't have a suspect. That's me. I'm that guy. I'm the dude with the suspect.
He's the dude with the suspect. I'm the dude who says I don't have an idea. Could be, and it can neither include nor exclude anybody.
The investigators. I can neither confirm nor deny that he had anything to do with it.
Yeah, I can neither confirm or anything.
Yeah, you know what? I mean, it would be cool, but okay. The thing is that TJB goes to court on November 1st.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I do believe that they're going to maintain and hold that one because they already got jury selection dates lined up. So it looks like that's going to happen. Now, they have that set for a 6-day jury trial. Now, I'm going to ask you, how do you have a 6-day jury trial? Even O.J. Simpson's jury trial lasted damn near a year. So how can you go in and have a jury trial that took 3 years to get right in 6 days? It sounds to me like he's going to go in, confess to the Catholic supply store murders, and then shoot at a gamble between life and life without parole to a jury, is what it sounds like, much like BTK did. And then that sets it up where the other states can go down and talk to him, because I know Michigan's going to go talk to him. The sheriff took my tip. He said, I'm going to take your tip and go down and talk to the man. So I know that he's in line to go down and talk to him. I know Evansdale's going to, that Iowa will. And I have tipped him into Indiana, but I already felt that he was on the list to go talk to by Indiana. Mm-hmm. Because when they come out and all of them say St. Louis and Delphi, Carroll County, it's far too early to actually draw any kid. Well, that's what they say. That's exactly what they're going to say. But they already know whether he is or not. You see where I'm at? They already know whether he is or not. But I do feel that Indiana is going to go talk to him as well. So, as that time rolls around, we will find out by February 13th of 2022 whether he is or not the suspect.
Yeah.
Because I feel that February 13th, 2022, the 5th year of Delphi, would be the date to give that announcement.
Right.
Especially if they roll all the cases into one.
Yeah. Someone else asked a question about Ashley Garth. Ashley Garth. So Ashley Garth was scheduled for jury trial starting yesterday. And there was a motion for transport order issued to bring two inmates from jails, one in Park County, one in, Kurtz, obviously, to her hearing. And it says that transport orders were in place and the jury trial was scheduled to start yesterday. I have not received an update for that. So Ashley Garth is supposedly going under jury trial now. So if I can get an update on that, of course, I'm going to be making a video on it. But there's your answer to your question. That's the first time I've seen you smoke anything in like 2 years, dude.
It's a cigar.
Yeah, but it's the first time I've ever seen you smoke anything in 2 years.
Well, yeah, but I'm not inhaling.
Yeah, neither did Bill Clinton, dude.
No. See, that was marijuana. I ain't stupid. I inhale that. Hey, I ain't shooting to be president, man. Well, here I am, man. I'm living the rock star life, man. I just did $10,000 worth of cocaine. Hang on, wait a minute. $10,000 worth of cocaine, and I'm ready for more.
Become the president now.
Yeah, I'm the president, everybody.
I'm the president. Oh, that's funny.
Yeah. Bill Clinton, man. I don't know. People vote for anybody.
Yeah. Okay, so who's next? Is there a next?
Hey, Bitcoin. Hang on. I got somebody asking about Bitcoin. Bitcoin is currently going down. So if you have any thoughts of buying Bitcoin, right now is the time because you can buy it at a discount. It's going up. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm here for entertainment only. And I wish I had a joke prepared, but I don't. I can tell you an old joke, though.
An old joke.
I only got old jokes. And not only that, man, Columbo smoked a cigar.
Yeah.
Sherlock Holmes did cocaine, though, like me. Yeah. Well, that's what he did, man. Hey, I ain't making that up. Sir Conan Doyle wrote that, not me. I mean, I wouldn't have had him doing cocaine. Whoa, now see that right there. Not really true at all. Not really true at all.
Dan McCain? Dan McCain wasn't even there.
Yeah, unless it was after the fact. I mean, but, you know, after the fact, I can say me and Greeno were there.
Yeah.
I mean, like a lot of people have been there. After.
A lot of people. Yeah. You know, a lot of people have been there. After the fact. You know, and a lot of people still ask me the question. They're like, well, weren't you there? Well, no, I wasn't there. I didn't even know this place existed. When we heard about it, my first thought was it was in Monon.
Yeah.
Which is a town.
Yes.
You know, and it's a town that's like, has got a train there. You know, it's like a railroad museum.
The Monon Trail.
Exactly.
It follows, as does that right there, the railroad track. That's where the trail is down in Indianapolis, the Monon Trail.
Yep, it
follows the same track as the one like we're on, the Monon High Bridge Trail. It follows the same track. And when I heard about it, I'm thinking Monon. And I'm thinking, but the Monon Trail's down by Indy. How are they getting Delphi? And I had to pull up Monon High Bridge Trail to find out where it was. And I'm like, oh my God, that's like right there. And I tell people all the time, like, we had no idea it was there. If I knew that that was there, man, I would have been back there so often. I mean, you know, I just would have. Whenever I was over there, I would have hiked back there. It's beautiful. Beautiful.
It's so nice back there. And a lot of people said that too when they went out there. They're like, man, this is a really nice place. It's sad that that happened out here. I know, man, it is sad. But it is great.
It taints the atmosphere of it being a historic trail, you know, and people go out there because that happened. But when they go out there, they see it's really a beautiful place, man. It's very historic.
Yeah.
It's like what, the second tallest bridge?
Second highest in the state of Indiana.
Second highest, man.
Yep. Second highest, third longest.
And that's crazy because it was right there and we had no idea.
Exactly. And people were like, well, how did you not know it's a historic bridge? I'm like,
yeah, nobody, you know what? I'm going to say most of the people in Delphi don't know it's there.
Yeah, they do now, but I mean,
now they do. Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, I never heard anybody talk about that. Old timers even said that. I didn't even know that bridge was out there. Yeah, and you've been around here for like 70 years. Didn't know it was there.
Well, who's going to walk back in there and go, hey, you need to walk back in there and see that big, you know.
Nobody does that.
Automatically assume everybody locally knows is there.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, I mean, think about back in the day, okay, when the train was going through there, you had the railroad tracks. I wouldn't have just walked out those railroad tracks just outside of town for no reason.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? To end up finding that bridge.
Well, I would have.
You would have walked outside of town just to find it?
Oh,
you probably just
on
to walk
railroad
through
tracks? Man, just out exploring and hitting the woods, I would have found it, man, when I was a little guy. Yeah, I was all the time about hitting the woods when I was little. You know, going out, explore, kill things with a BB gun, man. That was the nature of my being when I was little.
Mm-hmm.
I was just a murderer. You know, birds at a distance look like targets.
Yeah. Third longest. That's what she said.
Yeah, no, dude, you took it right out of my mouth.
That's what they wrote.
Third longest, man. Oh, that is what they said. Yeah, when you said third longest like that, I'm like, that's where my mind went.
That's where my mind. Be like, man, I'm only third.
Now, see, when people are going out there, You know, they always go like, well, you're not going to get me across that bridge. Now, I can tell you right now that that bridge would still hold a train. I mean, they
it will hold a
didn't
train.
shut that down because the bridge was bad. You know, it would still hold a train, and it would damn sure hold a person. You know, and let me see, 95, that would be 126 years of that being a bridge. No one's ever fell off and died. Not one time.
Not one time.
Never even heard a story of it.
I've never even heard a story of anyone falling off it at all. Yeah. I mean, you're careful. People are very careful. And they're like, yeah, but there's big gaps in there. Yeah. But it's just like stepping over. I mean, it's like if you laid a stick on the ground and stepped over it.
You just right over the top.
You just step right over it. It's people just, they get it in their head. It's high. You know,
it is high.
It is high, but it's really not that high.
But you just got to like look past that and just walk over it like you would if it was in your living room. It's no different.
Yeah.
You know, those ties, they're going to hold you.
Yeah, they'll hold you. Even though they look sketchy, they're there.
They're not. You're not going to step on one and it go clear through. And, you know, it's like when I went out there with Amber, she's like, well, where was that one where Anthony popped up? I'm like, right here. Now, you see right down here is that metal beam. Don't do this at home.
Yeah, don't do this at home.
But you can hop right down in here, you know.
Did she?
No. No.
No. She's like, nah, I'm not doing it.
In fact, her sister crawled over the top of it.
Really?
Crawled over.
Oh, man.
I know. That's why I'm like, oh, man, but don't fall. That would look really bad on me, you know. Because you know what? 2 people that I've taken out of there got hurt.
Yeah, I know. Down the hill, right?
Yeah.
Both of them down the hill?
Both of them.
On down the hill?
Yes.
Oh, man, dude. That's just not a bad spot. That's not a good spot.
One guy slipped on the concrete, man, and fell right on his backside, man, onto the concrete. I know. And immediately I'm like, oh, shit, man. I'm thinking like, here I was trying to talk him into it. I mean, like, you know, I'm praying he's all right. And then the lady, man, she fell down going back up right there on the concrete, ripped her leg open. I'm just like, wow. Like, you know, maybe I shouldn't like go down the hill, you know, maybe I should just the south side. And there it is.
There, we're on the hill. Here it is. We're not going down it. It's dangerous because, you know, it is dangerous that people don't realize. Okay, so Sean, who gave us the gifts.
Yeah.
When I was interviewing him on my channel, his first time there, says, well, what did you think about down the hill? And his first comment was, well, down the hill was a lot more down the hill than I thought. Like he said, it's pretty steep. It's not what I expected when I first came across it. He says, but then after you go down the hill, there's another hill.
Yes.
You know, and he's like, I didn't realize that, you know, and I'm like, yeah, you go down and then a driveway and then down again, you know, and you either go straight down that hill or you go down the path that we usually take.
It begs the question. Where was down the hill stated at? Was it at point 1 on the bridge going down the hill, or was that at the secondary at the driveway? You know, when they go down the hill and hit the driveway, because then at that point, a person wouldn't know where they're going. You know, they would stop there. And that's when the person would say, guys, down the hill. You know, it could have been at either location, but it does bring up that it could have been at either or location. Because like walk-wise, one's only like, what, 2 minutes from the next. Yeah. I mean, you just walk down that first hill, then guys down the hill.
Yep.
You know, because otherwise it would point that he was already leading them by the time he got to the south side of the bridge to then say guys down the hill.
You're right. You're right.
And on top of that, if I was kidnapping you and I walked you to the south side of the bridge and I said down the hill, I mean, wouldn't you ask like, well, where down the hill? You know, you could walk straight forward. You could walk to the left. You could go on, you know, you wouldn't really have a direction of down the hill. But at the second one, there's the walking path, and it would be quite clear down the hill.
Yeah.
And you also got the gravel, which is background in the audio.
Yeah, between, I think, that and leaves, wouldn't you think? Yeah.
Could be. But then again, it was in February. Now, like the fall leaves are more prevalent in the late fall, you know, before all the rain and the winter and all this kind of deteriorates them into a matted form.
Yeah.
you know. So I don't know that it was as much leaves as possibly more gravel or fabric rubbing across the mic.
Yeah.
Phone, which could also play in a little bit. But there was definitely background noise. Plus, it was taken at a distance because I would feel he'd be behind him if he was leading him. He wouldn't be to the front. He'd be behind.
Yeah.
You see where I'm at?
Yep. Do you think the girls tried to run at any point?
I don't.
I don't think so either. I think that he pretty much had them under duress to the point where, like, yeah, if you run, this one dies.
Yeah. And I don't think I'm pretty sure that he didn't really care one way to another, because you can tell by the nature of the crime that the guy was there to do that. And I don't think that much would have deterred him from doing that. And look, both girls and myself or anybody that would have been in their shoes would have felt the same way. They wanted to go home. You know, they just wanted to get back home, you know, get back out of there. That was so. I think that compliance was pretty necessary. You know, I don't think that they would try to run, but if they did, you know, I wouldn't know why. You know, I mean, I would know why, but I wouldn't know what would give them the whole thing to run now. You see where I'm at? We know we came down that path to the creek and they crossed. So I don't know if one of them tried to run, how would he have established control back to get him across the creek?
You're right. Yeah, he would have had a hard time getting that back. You know, it wouldn't have been easy for him.
Man, I'm smelling something burning. I'm hoping it ain't me. Okay, I'm hoping it ain't me. All right. Your money? Yes. Your money was. And I thought that I sent you a letter. I should have sent you a letter. Hang on. Checking.
Okay.
Nope. If you're speaking of today, it wasn't. But I have in the past. I have, Mary. I don't think that he followed them from the north side of the bridge to the south. I feel that he was on the south side of the bridge, and I think that that's where he maintained that. You know, I think that he waited for someone to show up at the bridge where he could walk in and then take him back to his south side and lead him to the place where he wanted the crime to occur at. You know, because if you look at it like this, at 2:07, when the picture was taken of Abby by Libby on the second platform on the right, there was nobody behind him. You know, there was nobody on the trail or on that hill right behind him. Now, if they kept going forward and they had already had words with this guy, the suspect, and this guy's crossing the bridge, this would have gave them ample opportunity to leave. I don't think that they would have stood their ground there and just videotaped. You know, they had time to call law enforcement, call home. They had a long time to do that. And I think that at the time when the video was taken, they was already under the duress. The guy had already demonstrated the weapon, showed it to him and said, you know, do as I say, or, you know, so I think that he was on the south side. I can't swear to that, but that is what it looks like to me. Greeno?
I seem to think that he was at the opposite side, the north side, and was kind of lingering around the bend in the trail, trying to make sure that nobody was coming behind them, and kind of just sat back and waited and watched as they got across the bridge. And then once he felt that they was across the bridge far enough, checking to make sure nobody else was there, and then hustled across the bridge, checking behind him randomly to see if anybody was coming. And that may have been what tipped her off. That's my opinion, is that he was looking back, kind of acting sketchy, like, hey, what's that dude keep looking behind him for? You know, and he's moving kind of quick. You know, that's just what I think, that he came across and tried to hustle him down there.
Well, I would agree with this, though. if they came from the north side and they had already had words with this dude, all right, then why would she not have called law enforcement or her family? Why would they not have taken off on the south side to go to girl number 2's house, you know, or something like that? Why wouldn't they have went somewhere? Why would she pull that out and captured video of a guy coming toward him and put it on video record unless they severely thought that this guy was a threat? You
well,
know,
maybe they.
I don't think that a 14-year-old girl would just do that without due cause.
What, film?
Yeah, well, put it on videotape for later like that. You know,
Yeah.
it really shows that there was
Something going on.
right there at that time, and he was right behind him. You know, and I think that at that time he was already leading them. And that's why she put it on video record and captured that quick video. That's just my thoughts.
Crazy, isn't it?
I think that when she took that picture of Abby, they was walking to the south side. He was already walking toward them, got to where they were, showed him the weapon, told him to walk to the south side, guys down the hill, and just let him right on across. You know, plus if you go to the south side, if you go to that south side, because we already know he was there at approximately 12:30. So why would he go back to the north side? Because on the south side, he can wait for somebody to walk up there with field glasses, see who's there, and then walk out. He's just a hiker. You see where I'm at? He's just a hiker. So when he gets up to him, shows him the weapon, he can lead him to where he wants, because at that time, they're caught. You know, they can't really dial 911. They can't dial anybody. You know, her clicking that phone on video record to stick in her pocket was probably the best thing that was done.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right.
Thank you, Eva. Appreciate it.
Hey, Eva, you know, I got your package. Eva sent me a package of things.
Oh, really?
From Canada.
Thank you, Eva.
Yeah, I got your package. I was actually going to be doing a show and talking about two packages that I received this past week. So yeah, I just wanted to say thank you now that I caught you on a live stream.
Okay, so that now we've also covered some theories, persons of interest, facts of the case. And, you know, I mean, I hope that this has kind of cleared quite a bit up, because, you know, a lot of these things, I don't know, man. It's like when I hear something, you know, and especially if it sounds good, but you know it didn't come from a referenceable point. You know that somebody said this, and that other people gravitate to that because it's what we want to hear. You know, it's like Libby fighting the guy. Well, why would Libby hit the guy? You know, why would Libby do that?
Well, you wouldn't hit the guy if he's, number one, I know people say, well, she had a fighting spirit and this, that, and the other. But let's look at the reality here. We have a grown man versus a 14-year-old girl. I seem to think that he will be able to intimidate her to the point that she's not going to want to do anything.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I feel that like, you know, when a parent scolds their child, even if they're a teenager, that child cowers. You know, at that time they're like, yeah, I gotcha, you know. Like, and I'm sure this guy was pretty demanding in what he was wanting, you know, like, hey, you're going to do this, you're going to do this. And if they mouthed off, then he may have hurt them, or he may have like intimidated them with his mouth by saying things, or a gun, whatever, you know. I don't think that they would have hit him. I think that they would have listened to him, hoping that there was an opportunity that it was just going to go. It would be over. You know what I mean? It was like, maybe if we just do what he says, he'll just go away, you know?
Yeah. And I think that was the point, because the guy did have a weapon, I do believe. Now, I don't think that he showed them a knife, because, I mean, a knife you can run from. You know, if you feel you can outrun someone with a knife, you're going to be running. You're not going to take them on with a knife, you know. But if it's a gun, you're going to do what they say. You know, because you really don't have any other way to look at that. If you don't do what they say, well, this guy's going to kill us maybe right here. You know, we don't want that. We just want to go home. We want to leave here. You know, this is me and my best friend. They're not going to put their friend in danger. They're not going to put themselves in danger. And they're probably going to comply because, you know, what else can you do? You know, you got to comply. Well, even if one of them screamed, and again, everybody puts something on a girl screaming like it's a natural reaction that they got to scream. Well, I don't know that that's the case. I mean, you know, I've never seen somebody just scream unless it's in a movie. In a movie, somebody sees something, you know, and they just scream.
They scream.
You think it's a natural reaction. I don't believe that it is. And, you know, if one of them did yell off the bat, there wasn't anybody around. Once you go down that hill right there, you're down in a cup of land. It's 70 feet upwards to where people would have been, and they still would have been a distance off. I don't think that anybody would have just heard voices at that point, even if they were a little loud. You know, and again, even down in that valley like that, if there had been a couple shots with the 22, how many people in that area would have paid that any attention? It wouldn't have been so loud that people heard. You know, if I hear a 22 outside, I don't think anything of it. And I don't think anybody around this area does. You know, everybody's got 22. Everybody shoots a 22. It's just not a big deal. You know, but I think that if a 22 was used in the commission of the crime, nobody would have heard that. Not right there around there. It just ain't that loud, and you're down in a cup of land with 70 feet of wall behind you.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it just wouldn't have been that, you know, obvious. Nobody would have thought crap of it in February.
You're right. You're right. It's, you know, I think a lot of people change their perspective after they go there.
Yeah.
Lots. You know, once you go there and you see the area and you see all these things that we're talking about, you're going to be like, whoa. Okay, this is a lot different from just looking at a map. And even a video can be different.
Yeah.
You know, because you're experiencing it at that point. You're walking down these hills and seeing it for yourself and feeling like how gravity is working against you. You know what I mean? Like where you're going to fall if you're not careful. A lot of people don't realize the terrain until you actually get out there. Almost every single person says, wow, I have a whole different perspective of this. You know, and so.
Now that was Amber. You know, when she was out there and we were walking it, she's like, yeah, it's way different when you come out here and you look at it. You know, it's not the same. Even like on a video, you know, you can't see where everything is in relationship to another. When you get out there and you realize that absolutely everything on the left is private property. You know, from when you walk off the Freedom Bridge going in, that first place is the backyard of somebody that lives on County Road 300. Then the next house, you know, this is their yards where it goes up to a secondary entrance. That's Mears property, you know, that goes all the way over to where the cemetery is, where it goes around Logan's.
Yeah.
You know,
there's in Logan's.
Everything on the left is private property. And I'm sure that when the guy had ever been there before, and I know that he had been there before, he knew that. There was signs there, private property, no hunting, no trespassing, because it was all private property. So the suspect knew that once he got him over there and took him back and across that over to the other side of the creek, it was on private property. And I feel he had went over, scouted that area, knew it was down in an area like that where it would be hard to hear or see anything from any point. You know, he had it all lined up as the way that he was going to do that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Jimmy Sotak says, it's a super chat for you. If they don't have reliable DNA, do you think the families know that?
No. And
I wouldn't think that they tell the family much more than they tell us.
Yeah, I don't think that the family knows anything really about the investigation that they're doing. Because all of that's got to be kept silent and within the confines of law enforcement, because when you allow things to get out there that they've stated, that's when the media come at you, man, and just hit you with questions. Same thing with the public. You know, people want to know, well, if this is true, then, you know, well, they're not going to put themselves into that, because one thing that we've seen over the last 5 years is a lot of crazy people with a lot of crazy theories, nuts, trolls, everything else. And man, if we think it's bad, you know, you got to look at like law enforcement. You watch like a a cop movie. Now
Yes.
crazy coming in with it, because they get that all day long. So they don't want to exacerbate that and make it worse than what it is. So I don't think that the family's really given like a lot of the investigation. Like, well, we have good DNA, we don't. We have this, they don't really cover that with the family. So much so that during the Delphi briefing, Doug Carter stated before they gave us that word, guys, that this morning was the first time that the family had heard that word. So we know that they haven't heard the full of the audio tape. I don't think that they're given specifics on the crime or anything else. They're kept waiting just like us.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. And someone said, oh, well, the family has seen it all. And no, they haven't.
No.
Because like the sheriff said, everyone is a suspect until someone is in jail.
That's right. Exactly.
Yeah. And Teresa says, why did Flannel Shirt Guy send Derek in the wrong direction? Well, he didn't. He didn't send him in the wrong direction. Derek came and said, I'm looking for these two girls, and describes them. I'm looking for these two girls. Have you seen them? The Flannel Shirt Guy just came from the bridge and says, no, I haven't seen those girls, but I did see a couple on the bridge.
Specifically the Monon High Bridge.
Yeah.
Okay, because that's to the south. That's where the crime happened, was down at that bridge. But, we have the Freedom Bridge that begins the trail that crosses the Hoosier Heartland. There are two bridges, but Freedom Bridge didn't have anything to do with the crime.
Right.
Flannel Shirt Guy was walking back from the south to the secondary entrance, back to where he had parked up by Freedom Bridge. That's where Derek ran into him. And he said, no, I didn't see any young girls down there at that age, but I did see two older, on the bridge, but it ain't the girls he was looking for. It was too old to be them.
Yeah. And he even said a couple girls, and a lot of people have changed that into there was a couple, meaning a male and female at the bridge. And it's like, gosh, how do people twist that up? No, I didn't see these girls, but I saw a couple on the bridge. Oh, he said a couple. Yeah. Who is this man?
The man and woman.
Yeah.
Did you have something to do with it?
They do it.
Yeah.
Find out.
Find out coming up. Will they be modified? We don't know.
Will they be implicated? Someone is.
Yeah. Hey, how much did that studio cost you, bro?
Probably about 80,000, just for that piece, just for that light back there.
Yeah, just in a day's work.
Yeah, I never sweep it or anything. It just stays the same.
Yeah, I never go in it, never use it.
I never use it. It just sits back there and wasted. Yeah.
Okay, so I think that about covers it. I mean, unless you've got anything that you wanted to touch upon, because here we are live, and if you wanted to bring anything in, now would be a good time to be at anything.
No, I just think that for the people out there, if you guys want to watch, any content on Delphi, whether that be on whoever's channel it is, or if you're reading on it, be careful about what you get involved in regarding Facebook groups, Reddit, different things like that, blogs, because you're not really getting the information that you're going to get out of us, because we've been there from day one. We're local. Yeah, we're local.
Day two.
Day two. Yeah. So we've been there.
We were in the unknown.
Yeah. So we've been there. We've been to the crime scene. We've spoken with the witnesses. We've spoken with law enforcement. We've attended the press conferences. We've been, at the prayer vigils.
For a minute.
For a few minutes. For a few minutes. But I mean, if there's people that have done it all, we have. We've walked the entire crime scene. We went across the bridge, down the hill, in the water, met everybody, and
met some really great people, man. I've met a lot of good people through this.
I have too. I've met a lot of good people, and it's sad that such tragedy has brought such good people into my life, but it has. And all I'm saying is check your information, check your sources from where you're getting it. Ask one of us, because chances are that we know. we know the answers to a lot of your questions. And some people out there, they just make stuff up to throw you off. So just be careful about all that. Other than that, I hope that everybody could come out to the March for Justice this Saturday, May 22nd.
Let me go get that here real quick. And this is the the thing on it?
It's called the March for Justice.
No, I mean on the link.
What about it? Do you have it?
Yeah, it's up now.
Oh, okay. So the link that he just posted right there, the paypal.me/pools thing, is a link to a fundraiser for the March for Justice. And what that does is that helps us make some signs. There's Marvelous Marvin. Make some signs that are, with missing persons on them, murdered persons, victims of unsolved cases. I've actually got some shirts made and stuff. I'm going to be placing another order for shirts. That way people can get the shirts. I'll be posting those on my YouTube community page. But that fundraiser there is to help us purchase more flyers, more banners and stuff like that for this event and get more shirts for people that want out there. So if you guys want to contribute to it, it would be greatly appreciated. We're almost to the goal. I think we need about $300 or $400 left and we'd make it. So the event's this Saturday. Maybe you guys could come out to Muncie. In that link, you'll also find the Facebook event. So come out, see us, highlight a case if you want to highlight a case, and you'll get an opportunity to meet me in Muncie, Indiana.
And there is the PayPal link for that right there. So you can go right there and donate to the cause.
And we will march for justice.
And justice shall be done in due time. Is there anybody that I missed with a moderatorship? I think I hit more than a few. I was just randomly going through making people a moderator. See, man, I'm not even seeing the wrenches now, man. I'm not.
I got one. You can't see a wrench on what's it called? YouTube. Can't see those, but Teresa's got one. Michael Green, Bruce.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm seeing them. I have to pull it up on my phone because half the time, how the comments don't show up, like sometimes in this thing here.
Oh, really?
Sometimes they don't show up on this thing, like on StreamYard, or they'll be way behind. And so I always have my phone pulled up in case I can see something. I'm like, what the hell's going on here? So there you go.
Okay, so, oh wait, that mod, see? No, that's mod. Okay, man. 12 cut. Why ain't 12 cut a mod? Add mod. There you
12
go.
cut is a mod.
Well, he is now. Wait, I didn't unmod him, did I?
Yeah.
I did?
I don't know. I can't tell. 12 cut. No, he's a mod.
Okay. All right. So now everybody's modded. There you go. All right, so everybody's modded. All right, I guess that should wrap it up. Okay. Kind of a great show, man. I appreciate you being here because doing this alone is not what it's cracked up to. Wait a minute, before everybody goes taking off, I got 1 second on my watch here. Click that thumbs up, and you'd be doing me a great favor. Mods, Greeno, everybody, all that watched, all viewers, man, love you all. Appreciate you guys showing up, and we will have a wrap up on this case in due time. And when it is wrapped up, me and Greeno will be there to wrap it up for you. Know that. Do it.
On that note, everybody, I'm Anthony Greeno.
He's Anthony Greeno.
Yeah, alongside Michael J. Katt. Keep it Southern style, y'all.
All right, everybody, man. I appreciate you guys being here, man. And I will catch you probably next Tuesday. Peace.